My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. It is currently 7:30 a.m.
There's an avenue.
And as you can see, I'm on Route 61 going westbound. And this is the documentation of the fake sun as I'm walking on. And first of all, this is operated by a gang stalker. Her employee is number 3933. The entity is at Benson Avenue and Holt Boulevard. Okay, this is where the fake sun is moving in alignment to me and where demons are getting in position behind me. This is gang stalking on a bus, and it is proven by the fake sun that you see here, maintaining position as the bus is traveling west on Holt Boulevard. And this is gang stalking on the roads and the highways. The entity keeping the fake sun moving, as you'll see on the Google Drive, as I captured this morning, coming from 537 North Euclid Avenue, where the Ontario International Airport and the Ontario Police Department gang stalking by plane and helicopter, and the people of the state are engaged in criminal monitoring all night long. And the entity moves the fake sun in the direction north as I'm on Euclid Avenue, which is what I'm capturing images of, at Holt Boulevard in Euclid as well. And the entity is pursuing with flights, commercial flights, planes that are, again, outside of what's published on the website. And the entity is outside of nature, moving the fake sun now west on Holt Boulevard so that demons can remain in position to me while I'm on public transportation subject to the pattern of conduct. That is a demon, all right? And this is demonic. That's the fake sun that's moving as I am moving west on Holt Boulevard. If you'll recall my documentation on September 1st, 2025 at 7:29 a.m. outside of my hotel room window that is facing Euclid Avenue, that fake sun is stationary outside of my stationary hotel room window on Euclid Avenue, which is facing the direction east. This fake sun is moving in real time while I'm on Route 61. And the entity is keeping that fake sun in alignment to me pursuant to what are demons that are stalking me by commercial planes, as I'm walking north of Euclid Avenue, and also by the people of the state that are maintaining surveillance with light. This is gang stalking on the roads and the highways. This is Holt Boulevard and what is central in the city of Montclair. And that's the fake sun moving as I move. And I've documented this already in 2022. This is P.O.C. All right, this is the entity that's engaged in relevant positioning, light activity, and ongoing audible activity. So I will show you. This is crossing a path. And this is the entity that is indeed keeping the fake sun in alignment to me, moving as I move. And you'll see this and compare this with what the entity is doing with the fake sun on Euclid Avenue. And don't forget what the entity is doing with the fake sun when I'm on Route 87, going a different direction, going to the Ontario Police Department. Okay? This is P.O.C. going toward the city of Pomona, where there would not be any sun, even in the city of Pomona, based on the acid entity that's already captured on the record, where the entity is keeping the fake sun over me in the city of Ontario on Euclid Avenue, over the Ontario Town Square, which is not going to be over any window on Route 61, headed west on Holt Boulevard into the city of Montclair and ultimately into the city of Pomona. It is 7:33 a.m. These are demons engaged in state surveillance on the bus. Sitting behind me is a means of relevant positioning. This is stalking with light, and it's demonic. And this is what they're doing all night long at the bus stop, molesting with light. And this is that which the entity Tracy Banks, Jason Fields are going to federal prison for. This is the system that the Ontario Police and the demons of the Ontario International Airport terrorists targeting as an entity are engaging in, and doing so pursuant to a supernatural environment. These are demons engaging in targeting. This is P.O.C. This is Gary Avenue right here, and Holt Avenue, Gary and Holt in Pomona, California. And this is the fake sun in alignment with the same bus route, Route 61 that I got on at Lemon and Holt Boulevard in Ontario, California. And it is currently 7:45 a.m. And this is the fake sun at Monterey Avenue. This is operation of your communication device in the specific environment. This is P.O.C. The fake sun goes in the direction that the bus goes, keeping in alignment to me. And this is, again, the entity that's keeping a fake sun headed in the city of Pomona at 7:45 a.m. The entity's keeping the fake sun over me while I am, for example, at Economy Inn in Ontario, California at the 60 freeway. And the entity's keeping the fake sun over that hotel room, for example, as my documentation shows, for the duration of the day. I'm capturing it at 7:15. The city of Ontario is gang stalking by plane and helicopter in concert with the people of the state. And the entity is street for street, turn for turn, keeping the fake sun in alignment to me in the city of Pomona. All right, and as you'll recall, Route 87, as I get off of Route 87 at Riverside Drive and Archibald Avenue in Ontario, California at approximately 7:55 a.m. This is the city of Pomona at 7:46 a.m. And I've documented the city of Pomona gang stalking at the Pomona Regional Transit Center via Route 61, there and back at different times during daylight savings time and outside of daylight savings time. This is the P.O.C. The entity stalking with impossible light activity. That's light activity under the fake sun. Foothill Transit is monitoring. License 1652225, so is Omnitrans, as I've already shown you. License 37780U2. And this is the entity that's keeping the fake sun while I'm at the Pomona Regional Transit Center. The entirety of that route from Ontario to Pomona. This is P.O.C. This is not going to be over the Ontario Police Department like I'm documenting in the city of Ontario. That's the specific environment remaining around me while the demon possessed, that is the entity engaged in criminal surveillance, is engaged in what is monitoring, targeting, gang stalking. This is the fake sun at the Pomona Regional Transit Center where criminal surveillance is underway in Los Angeles County. Like the Los Angeles Police Department, I've already proven my documentation, not only in Pomona, but in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens, targeting me where I live and work. It is 7:47 a.m. This is P.O.C. This is the elements of monitoring on the bus. That's employee 3933. Alrighty, the entity and images showing you the fake sun keeping in alignment with me as I'm traveling north on Euclid Avenue from 537 North Euclid Avenue. And this is the entity keeping the fake sun through the windows on the bus from Ontario to Pomona, city to city, county to county, engaging in that P.O.C. All right, this is indeed the entity engaging in what is a subdued fake sun. It is the same exact fake sun, maintaining that specific environment, especially as I document the Ontario Police, for example, engaging in criminal summoning at the OVITT Family Community Library. We already know the documentation of the fake sun is remaining at that venue right now, but it's over me in what is Pomona, California, covering up the fake sun while the Ontario Police engage in criminal summoning is relevant to the malice of the entity that knows that it's being documented and is still engaging in gang stalking. This is Foothill Transit. Crossing path, light activity, criminal surveillance by a corrupt business as well. This is P.O.C. It's currently 7:48 a.m. And this is Omnitrans, employee 3933, license 1370398. This is P.O.C. This is P.O.C. The entity engaging the pattern of conduct with the people of the state, doing so on the path. Union Pacific, maintaining massive light activity and audible activity, and I documented the parking lot full of demons putting on their morning best to engage in gang stalking in Pomona, California with the demons of Foothill Transit as well, pacing. Those are demons using nothing other than coaches to engage in the same demonic pattern of pacing all around. The fake sun is remaining, covering it up, and the entity is engaging in this while knowledge of specifically who I am and what I'm doing, okay? This is, again, the entity that's keeping that specific environment. This is the fake sun. This is engineer light in the street. And that's the entity flying over the top of my head by planes, and I'm in Pomona, California. It's 8:45 a.m. This is P.O.C. License 9ETN665 is gang stalking, and so is the entire city of Pomona. The entity that has the fake sun reflecting off of the driver's side of this vehicle is speaking to that is in relevant position to me, identifying a stalker. Okay, that's a demon that's engaged in the P.O.C. And I want to be clear, that's a demon stalking in a plane. These are demons engaged in the pattern of conduct as I'm showing it's following from city to city. This is what is all underway at the Ontario Town Square. It's just that the sun's not going to be over me at the Ontario Town Square and over me in the city of Pomona. All right, this is the pattern of conduct at 2nd Street. All right, this is, again, 8:46 a.m. P.O.C. The Ontario International Airport, the entity engaged in criminal summoning with employee number 3545, who's also a sex offender. This is a demon while I'm being molested with impossible light shooting backwards toward me, and the proof of it is the fake sun at what is 9:51 a.m. The entity has the fake sun at 9:59 a.m. at the Ontario Town Square. And as I'm documenting at what is Walgreens at the Riverside Drive and Archibald Avenue intersection, that's where the fake sun is after coming from the Ontario Police Department at 2500 South Archibald. The entity's maintaining the fake sun as I am at the OVITT Family Community Library. This is the entity that is after coming from Pomona, engaging in that P.O.C. So let me show you. This is indeed engineer light. Opening and closing the doors, again, the same P.O.C. is not going to result in light shooting backwards to touch on my person right here. And they're all stalking under a fake sun. on the roads and the highways with the Ontario Police that are gang stalking and engaging in criminal summoning with employee 3545, acting pursuant to that pattern of conduct. Omnitrans and gang stalking with the Fontana Police Department as well, as I documented, while the entity kept the fake sun over the Fontana Lewis Library at 9:59 a.m. There's no sun that's going to be over the airport. There's no sun that would be over the airport, even covered up with clouds, while the entity is engaged in real-time demonic conduct, covering up what is a crime scene that moves as I move, where the demon-possessed are engaged in criminal monitoring. This is the airport turning onto Archibald, and the fake sun turns as the bus turns. This is indeed P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently 9:52 a.m. and this is coming from the city of Pomona, where the fake sun was over me the entire time. Foothill Transit targeting in concert with the people of the state in Pomona, California. That's Los Angeles County. I've already documented that. I've already documented it. Like I stated before, in and out of daylight savings time 2022. I documented it while I'm living at Alvarado Gardens, and LAPD is gang stalking under a fake sun, which is at the same time of year, as I was juxtaposing that with the Pomona Regional Transit Center, where I just came from. And the fake sun is remaining street for street, turn for turn on Route 61. All right, it is currently 9:53 a.m. This is the entity that is not in any natural environment, keeping a fake sun over 224 North Avenue, the Ontario Town Square, where the Ontario National Airport is gang stalking, doing so while impossible light activity is on the bus. That's not sunlight. This is the entity that's targeting with light. That's P.O.C. And they're all monitoring together. This is crossing path light activity and ongoing audible noise. And that's a demon engaging in perpetual sex offense, and engaging what is targeting with the Ontario Police Department, crossing path and stalking proven through that supernatural environment that's remaining where I remain. P.O.C. It is currently 9:53 a.m. This is criminal monitoring by Omnitrans and employee number 3545 in concert with the people of the state. P.O.C. Catherine Bridge and Barrington. That's West Valley. There you go. You can hear the speaker. This is West Valley. And this is the same route that I was on during the 8 a.m. hour, reminding you about the fact that at 12:51 p.m. I'm documenting the fake sun over me at West Valley, and it's zenith at the top of my head. And also on that day, when I went to Fontana, the fake sun was already over the Fontana Lewis Library. The entity is keeping the fake sun while I'm on Route 61. And going to the same destination at a different time. This is the P.O.C. This is the fake sun that's still here. This is an entity that's engaged in ongoing monitoring when the case and the evidence is already on the record. This is evidence to you about the reality of the demon possessed and the demonic environment that surrounds, where you are proving what is targeting by a mentally depraved community. This is government conduct, and it's also relevant to what is proof of surveillance as well. You're aware of the significance of what it is that I'm documenting when you go to the extent to try to cover it up. It is nonetheless still the fake sun. The entity keeping the engineer light, like you just saw in the previous video. The fake sun didn't go anywhere. It's not over the Fontana Lewis Library, and this is the entity keeping the fake sun on the entire route of Route 61, where under no circumstances covered up or shining would the sun be over me on the same bus route, where I'm on this bus route at this intersection passing West Valley during the 8 a.m. hour, and I'm already at Fontana Lewis Library when I capture that. It's 10 a.m. This is P.O.C. and this is the entity what engaged in gang stalking in Pomona, covering up the fake sun and doing so. That's relevant to malice. All right, this is the P.O.C. and all of this is already on the record. The entity's gang stalking via Omnitrans, gang stalking on every bus route that I'm on, and also engaging in what is very demonic, covering up what is a fake sun in the first place. This is a grand departure from being under, covered up or not, over the OVITT Family Community Library. This is the entity that's going to be prosecuted. This is P.O.C. Understand the malice of demons like Jason Isaac Fields when you're looking at the entity failing at covering up the specific environment which is remaining over me, proving stalking by the public. All right, this is gang stalking. This is P.O.C. 9DLB839, 6WRD166. These are the demons that are engaging in going into bathrooms to keep your genitalia under surveillance in concert with the government. ME2RJJ. P.O.C. This is surveillance, crossing a path, light activity, audible activity. 10:11 a.m. That's the engine appearing and disappearing. Okay, pursuant to real-time knowledge of what it is that I'm doing a movement. So let me show you that. It is indeed what is the, okay, that's the pattern of conduct, P.O.C. Oopsie, this is P.O.C. Fake sun, turning onto Jennifer, all right, employee 3545, gang stalking. as an employee of a corrupt transit line that's monitoring while I'm on both directions of Route 61, the fake sun remains over me. And also the evidence shows that, for example, June 3rd, 2025 at Juniper and San Bernardino Avenue, where I'm at right now at 10:23 a.m., the fake sun is at after 5 p.m. on June 3rd, 2025, in alignment to me on this same bus going in the opposite direction. This is speaking to what is the maintenance of a uniform environment. That uniformity, however, is demonic. It's impossible to naturally occur, which is speaking to the malice that employee 3545 is engaging in, targeting me with, in concert with the state of California, the city of Fontana. This is Mallory and Juniper, where I'm also documenting already being in Fontana, capturing the fake sun at 9:59 a.m. at the Fontana Lewis Library over the roof, and the demons are pacing inside which is not sunlight, it's engineer light. And the sun is not over the Fontana MetroLink train station like I documented already, walking up Sierra Avenue toward Arrow and Sierra. Unity keeping the fake sun street for street and turn for turn. Right? Again.
South Fontana Transit Center. Service by U.S.C. 1961 329. On the right.
And this is the entity that's doing so, and it is not over the Fontana Lewis Library like I documented when I'm already in Fontana. It's already over me while I'm being gang stalked by Metrolink, which is creating light activity and amplified audible activity while the people of the state are monitoring on the roads and the highways. This is what I documented in Fontana, just like they were today, Union Pacific in Pomona, California, engaging in that P.O.C, doing so as demons that are crossing path, engaging in surveillance. License 8F03504 with impossible light on the ground as they drive by in the shade. The uniformity of that impossible environment is speaking to that which is shared by a fake sun. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is what Sierra and Sierra and Marigold. And it is 10:25 a.m. Everything is used to engage in what is ongoing psychological torture, sexual violence. Not only is that not the sun, then you're breaking down the environment. That's not sunlight, and you can clearly see that. This entity has engineer light going in all manner of direction, while the entity is keeping the fake sun over the OVITT Family Community Library in Ontario, California. Okay, where the Ontario police are gang stalking at that library at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening. That fake sun is still over that venue. This is P.O.C. in Fontana.
Service by 10.
Here's the fake sun
15. 19.
at the Fontana MetroLink train station, turning as the bus turns the entirety of the route. Not only is employee 3545 a demon engaging in the perpetual sex offense molestation with impossible light. That's a sex offender that's touching you with that which isn't even naturally occurring. And that's a sex offense committed by Omnitrans under the fake sun. These are all demons engaging in light activity, relevant positioning, and ongoing audible noise. The entity gang stalking via employee 3545 as the state, with the Ontario Police Department, with the Fontana Police Department, gang stalking, doing so under the fake sun, specifically targeting me. That's the significance of showing you what is a fake sun that's not over the OVITT Family Community Library. It's not over the Fontana Lewis Library, and it's certainly not remaining over what is the Ontario Town Square. That is in conformity to the pattern of conduct and impossible to be the natural environment, showing targeting specifically by the employee. Excuse me? This is it? I know. I am. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity engaging in gang stalking from city to city, Pomona to Ontario to Fontana, okay? And that is Omnitrans, the company, and that third-party actor, all right? This is P.O.C. As you walk through, this is a sex offense. It's not sunlight, nor is this the sun, okay? And that noise as I approach the entrance, this is the demon monitoring for the entirety of my route, okay? My presence on the route. It is at Fontana MetroLink train station. I was already here when I came a couple days ago. That's how I'm getting the fake sun. That is over the Fontana Lewis Library. I'm showing you it's over the parking, excuse me, this is an apartment complex adjacent to the Fontana MetroLink train station. Fontana Lewis Library is in the opposite direction. It's that way. And the entity is engaging what is keeping the fake sun as I'm going to walk up Sierra Avenue as I've documented. And at this same Fontana MetroLink train station, keeping the fake sun on this side of the same venue into the evening, capturing the fake sunset. This is where the Fontana Police Department are gang stalking by helicopter the other night when I was also here in concert with Omnitrans, a domestic terrorist and a sex offender, and doing so with impunity, okay? From city to city throughout San Bernardino County and into Los Angeles County while they're engaged in the pattern of conduct in Pomona. This is 10:33 a.m. There's no sun over 8437 Sierra Avenue, speaking to targeting by the Fontana Lewis Library, targeting by the OVITT family community, the city of Ontario, the city of Fontana, specifically targeting one person. As they walk away, that fake sun doesn't remain over them. As they're driving about, that fake sun doesn't remain over them. That's why it's not over the OVITT family community library, because if it was, it's mutually exclusive and I wouldn't be capturing it now while I'm getting off of what is bus 2344, license 1545683, Omnitrans engaging in the sex offense of targeting and doing so with the city of Pomona, with the city of Ontario, and the city of Fontana. P.O.C. It is 10:33 a.m. All right, as the images show you, San Bernardino County Fire, those are demons. They're engaged in state surveillance, just like Ontario Fire. Those are demons, and they're engaged in surveillance. The entity is engaged in what is pacing while the fake sun is over me in Fontana on Sierra Avenue. And the fake sun is dragging above me as I am walking, and the demons of the Fontana Police Department that already had a fake sun during the 9 a.m. hour when I came days before, there is no such natural environment over. Those are exposed, like I stated, at that department on Upland Avenue in Fontana, adjacent to the Fontana Lewis Library that had a fake sun over it targeting me at the Fontana Lewis Library at 9:59 a.m. and it is 10, like I stated, 43 a.m. And the demons of the Fontana Police Department, in concert with the demons, the people of the state of the city of Fontana, are engaging in surveillance together. Criminal summoning by San Bernardino County Fire, and also gang stalking pursuant to that demonic light activity while they are monitoring stalking as an entity as I walk up Sierra Avenue after getting off the bus, and employee 3545 targeting from city to city via Omnitrans 7LTK977, 24LAK8, AWOC 946, and the demon of the Fontana Police Department stalking in the vehicle gets out, is going to what is a facilitating venue, the fake sun over the venue, engaging what is bearing weapons. This is federal prison. License 1645023. This is a Caucasian male, and he's engaged in what is criminal summoning with the Ontario Fire. He's monitoring on a communication device in concert with the city of Fontana. He represents the city of Fontana, engaging in surveillance and furtherance of murder and kidnapping. This is license again 1645023. Vehicle 31. Fontana police are the Nephilim, they're demons, and going to what is mi flor mayor is gang stalking in relevant position with what? The impossible light activity. That's a demon bearing a gun and a badge, stalking. All right, and his partner that's gang stalking at 9 o'clock in the morning at Arrow and Sierra is how you know that he's a maniacal psychopath that is lacking any defense under the fake sun, stalking to a scientific degree of certainty and proof. All right, this is the entity that's engaging in what is psychological torture while stalking with impossible light, getting out of your vehicle while you are monitoring the target individual who is documenting it while you are stalking her. This is the entity that's going to be prosecuted for that. This is relevant to the P.O.C. by the entirety of the city of Fontana, and it's simultaneously prosecuting the state. Why? Because there's no sun over the OVITT Family Community Library, while the demons of the city of Fontana are stalking me under it on Sierra Avenue at Arrow, in between Valencia and on Sierra Avenue and in between Arrow Boulevard and Valencia, and doing so at what is 10:45 a.m. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that is gang stalking amongst the people of the state that don't provide. The people of the state incriminate the government acting directly, and the government acting directly incriminates the people of the state acting vicariously. They're all demons stalking under a fake sun, and the Fontana police are pacing up and down Sierra Avenue monitoring me while the city of Fontana greets me with the demons of San Bernardino Fire using a fire truck for criminal monitoring. Doing so pursuant to what is engaging in what is mentally depraved, mentally demented conduct, light activity, and using a whole fire truck. These are the criminal expenditures of a corrupt government that's engaging in gang stalking. And they're monitoring my vagina, which is again the criminal conduct of Aquanetta Warren, a demon. And she's also exposed as a homosexual. While she's targeting me with the demons that are stalking me, the Fontana police using helicopters at this same, in this same venue, which is the city of Fontana. And these are the demons that engage in that as I document it while they're stalking through the fire department, they're stalking through the so-called police department, and they're stalking in the same manner that the city of Ontario is, which is using planes. Flying over in relevant position. In the same exact engineer light is present at nightfall. This is P.O.C. Again, Fontana police, I'm going to go ahead and capture images of this. This is a white male. He's gang stalking with the people of the state at what is Mi Flor Mayor Coffee and Company, which is a third-party facilitating venue where the fake sun is over me while they are a corrupt business And again, every other business is gang stalking. This is where this demon goes into bearing that uniform. Understand that that's the government targeting you directly, while the people of the state are the mask that the government is wearing while keeping you under surveillance, gang stalking you, and also doing so in bathrooms. They're doing so with the immigrant population. Understand that the federal government has jurisdiction to deport the entire immigrant population in the city of Fontana that are engaging in state surveillance and furtherance of murder, doing so pursuant to federal stalking under Title 18, and also doing so with the corrupt branches of government that are exposed. All right, engaging in surveillance. Let me get this documentation. 9PBV218 08442C4. Gang stalking license plate 09719D3. And they're monitoring while Fontana police go inside of Mayor at 8560 Sierra Avenue. It is currently 10:47 a.m. I'm going to capture images of this. P.O.C. And I'm going to show you the fake sun that remains over me as I walk toward what is Feedaway, where this demon of Fontana Police, which is, again, a demon-infected agency. They're engaged in criminal surveillance, not law enforcement. And at 8560, which is where the state is gang stalking directly and vicariously, the fake sun is over me, which is how you know that me, Flor Mayor, is also gang stalking. And the state actor Fontana Police that's engaged in monitoring my vagina is a domestic terrorist and is stalking and furtherance of murder and kidnapping in concert with demons like Jason Isaac Fields, who's going to prison, and Tracy Banks, who's going to federal prison, and the people of the state that are molesting with impossible light, like employee 3545, as I'm en route to the city of Fontana. All right, this is the entity that's engaged in that gang stalking conduct with knowledge of your documentation, which is, in other words, you're being documented and you're going to federal prison. This is the entity that's gang stalking, and they're not going to be treated differently than the demons of the city of Ontario, the demons of the city of Los Angeles, the demons of the city of Pomona, Pasadena, where I'm capturing them engaging in state surveillance. And the only reason why a government engages in keeping you under surveillance in the way in which I've proven is to get away with murdering you and controlling the narrative, muddying up the waters, dissolving what are specific facts in order to hide the fact that you are targeted by the state. And this is a demonic entity that's engaging in what is vast public corruption. This is the city of Fontana gang stalking and going into me, Flor Mayor, where that business is engaged in gang stalking as well. But that's the cowards of the Fontana Police Department stalking me by helicopter. POC. Any immigrants are subject to deportation while the police is gang stalking with them. License 9CYM469. You'll see the images. It's captured. It's 10:49 a.m. You'll see the fake sun over me on Sierra Avenue. And then you're going to be reminded about when I came to Fontana days earlier, and I'm already at the Fontana Police Department. What is that over my head? When I'm taking the same path at a later hour, where the sun would not be engaging in that same repeated path over this one specific person at that, nor would the sun that has already taken this path as I documented it days earlier, it wouldn't even still be over the same street, over the same venues. All right, and it certainly isn't at the same time remaining over the OVITT Family Community Library, over Paul Leon at the Ontario City Hall at 303 East Beach Street, where the demons are going in circles pacing around me in AMR ambulances, vehicles, and Ontario Fire Department vehicles, engage in criminal summoning just like the demons of the city of Fontana. License 6MIK183, 9RCY620. They're all engaged in criminal summoning. This is a federal offense committed by the municipality. The government is acting directly and vicariously, and these are the demon-possessed engaged in what is monitoring. It's demonic activity. These are the demon-possessed engaged in criminal surveillance. It's federal stalking under Title 18, 8VAM927. And this does not stop outside of what are private spaces where you maintain a reasonable expectation of privacy. In fact, the fire department, the police department, the airports, the population, including immigrants, are sex offenders keeping your genitalia under surveillance in bathrooms, stalking you in bathrooms, which is a terrorizing threat. 7WPD 951, 9TNF 076, and this is why Jason Fields is going to federal prison. Neither was gang stalking in the first place ever going to help him from avoiding federal prison, but he's going to federal prison for targeting and with regard to the psychopathic and desperate and delusional objective to avoid being prosecuted for criminal conduct that Tracy Banks is no excuse for him committing. 9TAC 901, 9FIM 428. Jason Fields is going to federal prison for the city of Fontana gang stalking me. 9TNF 076, and the federal government that is facilitating it. Covering up the fake sun remains the fake sun. This is exactly what was over me in the city of in the city of Pomona today, flying over my head while I'm on 2nd Avenue in the city of Pomona. There's no coincidences in that specific environment. There's no coincidence even when it's at nightfall on the same engineer light, the same specific environment, meaning the environment tailored to me where I am indeed the target. And this is being targeted by, again, Jason Isaac Phillips, who's going to federal prison. That's just a terrorist whose name I know. He's going to prison. 9MMT119, 9BHX992, 9GMW458, 76268R3, 6TRD131. All right, and while San Bernardino County Fire maintains light activity at the Spring Street and Sierra Avenue intersection, that fake sun remains over me, which is showing you that they're demons, number one, that they're engaged in criminal activity, targeting, number two, psychologically harmful and sexually violent criminal conduct, and they're doing so with impunity, knowing that they're being documented, which is speaking to the malice of a serial killer that does not care and will continuously stalk you and threaten you. That's the San Bernardino County Fire and the Fontana Police Department and the people of the state. 9VCY247. So let me capture what is impossible, that the sun would be over me at this same intersection during the 8 a.m., 9 a.m. hour, and again while I'm here at 10:40. It's now 10:53 a.m., but I've captured this same intersection at Arrow Boulevard and Sierra Avenue, by the way, at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, where this same demon-infected municipality, the demons of the Fontana Police, the demons of San Bernardino County Fire, are under this fake sun. The entity flying over the top of my head by commercial airline planes, and a fake sun is over this same exact location. Aquanetta Warren is a domestic terrorist. She's not a mayor. These terms that these demons use have significance. They actually mean something. And because you are a terrorist, a sex offender, a charlatan, that doesn't make you a legitimate official. You're just a demon sitting in a position that you're unfit to be in, waiting for the right person to expose you for the predator that you are. That's why you're keeping my vagina under surveillance in Fontana, California. That's why the supernatural is over me on the intersection in Fontana, California. You're sex offenders, and these are the serial killers, the people of the state of California. XE90X, 8BNC, 624. And let me show you this fake sun that is already at this location when I came here days earlier, and the fake sun is already over the Fontana Lewis Library, never leaving. Because remember, when I walked back outside at 2:01 p.m., the fake sun's still over the roof of the Fontana Lewis Library. But here I am, having not even reached the Fontana Lewis Library, coming from Pomona, California, and the entirety of that route, the entity engaging what is trying to cover up failing and what remains a fake sun. And by the way, common sense dictates, logic dictates, the pattern of conduct requires and mandates, because you're not leaving that outside of the doors of a federal court and a prosecution. License 1520392, the demons of San Bernardino County Fire. They're engaging in what is the pattern of conduct, and covering up the fake sun is not any sort of deviation from the evidence. It's not any less of probative value with regard to proving that the state of California is a gang stalking psychopath, a serial killer, targeting American citizens and engaging in criminal surveillance. Covering up the fake sun doesn't help. It doesn't deviate. It doesn't make it less probative. It doesn't make it less persuasive. It doesn't make it less powerful evidence at all. There's already years of evidence showing that the entity are a bunch of demons under a fake sun. It already shows that there are infestation of cockroaches waiting for me to pull up that boulder and show you what they are and what they're doing, what they know and what they think they know while they do it. License 65291L3, 7MBL041, NA943. These are all stalkers. That's why the fake sun, the crime scene, the stage is set right here at this intersection where the government is stalking directly and vicariously. And that includes a gang stalking mayor, an oxymoron, requiring removal from public office, where you are unfit based on your known mental illness, based on the pattern of conduct. You're a part of the same community, you're gang stalking, you're the same Nephilim, you're the same demon. Not only that, you're unfit based on that which is occurring in the city, the community that you're supposedly a leader over. And I'm referring to the cockroach, Aquanetta Warren. Every business, every household, every resident, every third party, the people of the state, every single person is engaged in criminal surveillance. That's why there's an outright departure and an outright absence of common sense and logic while the demons keep a fake sun over Fontana, California, and it's supposed to be over the Fontana Lewis Library. But it would not be even in a natural environment. It's not going to sit over the same building until 201, which is what I documented the other day when I was already here, already took this path. And it's still not over the Fontana Lewis Library, where it remained, because on the days earlier, I'm still inside of the Fontana Lewis Library. We're Omnitransit, Stalking 1399983, bus 1269, engaging in surveillance no matter what route it is. Employee 3545 is engaging in a statewide pattern of conduct, targeting me with the city of Pomona, with the city of Ontario, with the city of Fontana, in furtherance of murder, psychological torture, and committing sexual violence. All right, doing so in concert with the entity that is inescapable regarding federal prison, and that is Jason Isaac Fields. This is the fake sun over me at Arrow Boulevard and Sierra Avenue, and you'll see that in images. This is P.O.C. 6LCT048. Like I stated, this is not traffic. This is what you know that they're doing at the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue while I'm remaining there, and the demons of the city of Ontario are gang stalking while a fake sun remains over that Starbucks, over that logo as I step outside of the front door, visible through the window of that Starbucks on Euclid Avenue, even until sunset after 7 p.m. through the drive-through window where those demons are gang stalking and impossible light activities on the inside wall where the drive-through window is. This is all sitting on the record, and then you have the fake sun over Arrow Boulevard and Sierra Avenue. Irreconcilable. And that irreconcilable environment is there for the proof of the world to witness what is a prosecution of the demon-possessed. The demon-possessed that also include the federal government, facilitating violence and inhumane criminal conduct, sexual violence committed by the government itself, that is engaged in criminal conduct that it thought was never going to be exposed, and even engaged in what is continuously gang stalking me, thinking that I'm just going to have a breakdown and I'm just going to wind up dead, and that the entity is never going to be held accountable for this very pattern of conduct. That's why I'm still being gang stalked to date. That's why the city of Fontana is acting in furtherance of the criminal conspiracy to commit murder, while this entity, Tracy Banks, Jason Fields, the entity still has my money and my property. They're acting pursuant to what is real-time and ongoing criminal conspiracy to commit an unlawful objective, which the federal government, not interfering, is facilitating, enabling, is sharing in. I want to make sure that that's clear. Fields is going to prison. He's not removed from that. He is gang stalking. And this is an ongoing criminal objective that he is acting in furtherance of as an entity that's engaged in criminal conduct, which he remains a part of. He remains a beneficiary of. But as it turns out, my investigation, my prosecution, shows he's not a beneficiary. He is a defendant, and he's going to federal prison. It is currently 10:59 a.m. So let me capture this fake sun that's remaining over me while I'm on the sidewalk at the Fontana Chamber of Commerce. This is where I was leaving the Fontana Lewis Library the other night, and the fake moon was over my head while I was documenting the city of Fontana maintaining planes patrolling, because that's the significance in the specific environment. The fake sun over me at the Chamber of Commerce, the fake moon at nightfall as I exit the Fontana Lewis Library, and the entity is stalking in the sky space, aerial surveillance, and also gang stalking on the roads and the highways. This is all a warrantless and unlawful surveillance that there is no legitimate interest for the government to maintain. It's already proven. This is federal stalking. The entity that's inside a Citibank, inside of the buildings, the establishments, in their facility and convenience where they live, the entity doesn't have any warrant of probable cause, which is necessary when you're gang stalking with the people of the state where they live. There's no warrant for that. The government is being prosecuted for surveillance that's underway ceaselessly, everywhere and at all times, through everyone, including the immigrants that are subject to deportation for terrorism. All right? It is currently 11 a.m. and you'll see that fake sun in the same position where the fake moon was over me as I'm at this same location coming from the Fontana Lewis Library a few nights ago, where I am capturing the entity stalking by airplanes, maintaining ongoing flight, and then the entity engages in stalking by San Bernardino County Fire at the village at Sierra,
And they're also engaging in, while the fake moon remains over me, from the Fontana Chamber of Commerce to the Fontana METROLINK train station, just like the fake sun from the Fontana METROLINK train station to the Fontana Lewis Library, like it is now, even though it's doing it at a later hour than what it did days before. And I've captured even a greater duration of time, speaking to what is impossible, nothing other than targeting what you are recognizing through an environment that defies science. And that's directly relevant to what is a inevitable federal prosecution, a conviction, if you will. All right, this is the entity that's engaged in that, and that fake sun and that fake moon over me at that same location as I documented last night, P.O.C. It is currently 11:01 a.m. The entity is engaged in criminal summoning at the entrance of the John Roberts. That's a demon. All right, John Roberts' name on the San Bernardino County Fire Department is identification of a terrorist, and they're engaging in terrorism as an ode to that terrorist whose name is on the front of this fire department. That's a gang-stalking sex offender, engaging in surveillance, keeping my vagina under surveillance, and not engaged in what is firefighting. This is exactly what they were doing at the entrance of the Fontana Lewis Library while the fake sun was over me. I'm going to show you where the fake sun is over me now while they're engaged in what is light activity. These are demons, and they're manifesting right before you. This is light activity, relevant positioning, and the clock is audible noise. My voice is audible noise. The sun is never going to be over the John Roberts fire station over me. These are demons that are engaged in what are the elements of monitoring. They're monitoring. These are demons. Walking around the fire truck, they're not inspecting anything. It's the elements of monitoring. P.O.C. Walking back and forth. I'm taking pictures. Walking back and forth around the truck. These are demons that are pacing. This is very demonic. Very demonic. Very demonic. These are demons. They're sex offenders and they're enemies of the United States. License plate, and it's the same pattern of conduct in Fontana. License 9CXC999-41783A1. And the Fontana Fire, this is license 1471025, while John B. Roberts is gang stalking in Plainview. And you'll see the fake sun over me. They were targeting on Sierra Avenue. The fake sun remains over me as I'm at the venue. And that's the P.O.C. These are demons. I just want you to see that. Those are indeed demons. That's P.O.C. Very disturbing conduct. Doing so in concert with the Fontana Lewis Library, where there's no sun over that library like it is when I came here before, and it remains over that library. That was so spectacular about 2:01 p.m. It's 11. I'm arriving after. The entity already had the fake sun over the Fontana Police Department. The entity has the fake sun over while I'm at the Fontana Lewis Library at 9:59 a.m. I'm arriving after that time. I'm showing you the fake sun that's over me on Route 61 as I'm headed toward this direction at a later hour. The entity keeps the fake sun while I'm at the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library at the same time. And this is where demons are manifesting before you. The demons of John B. Roberts Fire Station, San Bernardino County, is engaged in domestic terrorism. These are enemies of the United States engaging in what is no longer a secret, criminal surveillance, which is demonic. And this is manifesting, demons are manifesting as they engage in light activity and pacing all around the truck. And this is, again, the entity that is focused on me. This is what's so pathetic about them, because they're in uniform and they're engaged in gang stalking. It's absolutely pathetic. I've documented the Upland Police Department engaging in the same thing. They're using their research. Remember, the Ontario Police Department doing the same thing under the fake sun, calling it police training. You've got all your equipment, your police uniform, all of that, and it's all about me. That's what's so pathetic when you put these demons in the proper perspective. All right? And they're monitoring my vagina. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, this is the entity that's monitoring as I use my device, that yelling. This is a demon that's monitoring with simultaneity. This is P.O.C. Very, very disturbing conduct. And it's criminal conduct by the San Bernardino County. Fontana Lewis Library represents San Bernardino County. All right, license 8JQE285, 9KOZ493, EE25M93. The entity moving the fire truck to be around me. This is what they were doing the entirety of my walk on Sierra Avenue toward Arrow Boulevard. And now they're keeping it in front of the John B. Roberts fire station while they're merely pacing on foot and pacing with that vehicle, yelling as I operate, go to a different app on my phone. Fake sun is over me, showing that they are stalking and consumed with what I'm doing, where I'm doing it, as I do it. That's the demon possessed that are consumed, I want to be clear, with my vulva, with consumed with my vagina, that same level of detail, that same knowledge, pursuant to surveilling what's between my legs. That's what's the truth of the mentally ill that are calling itself a fire department, San Bernardino County. That logo is a sex offender and it's a terrorist. 8RNM575, 7FOG871, 5GKF111, 9CLA079. 64790W3. Don't forget about what Brink Security is doing. Okay, that's a demon bearing weapons, gang stalking at the Fontana Lewis Library. And don't forget about that. And you knew that when I went back to Ontario, and that entity kept that fake son over the OVITT Family Community Library. Brink Security is a gang stalking psychopath, using all of the resources of a company, coming and bearing your weapons to communicate what is a threat as you are recognizing the P.O.C. underway. Psychological torture is what is underway when an entity is maliciously targeting an American citizen. And this is what Jason Fields is going to prison for, thinking that the government could target me and falsely depict me as being the one that's paranoid, being the one that's a criminal, and I'm a prostitute. There's no history of that. There's no evidence supporting it. And gang stalking surely is not going to create that. 8JCW004 is gang stalking. 28661A1. This is criminal conduct with a fire department, as you're practically breaking down what the demon possessed are doing. 8SKU466, 9MMV411, 9CZV105, 7DZZ327, 8ZIZ348, 8VED153, 8YGY336, 8JLN577, 8ARU503. I have the entity gang stalking by the Fontana police outside of the same venue where the San Bernardino County Fire is showing you that they're demons. And the Fontana Police Department are gang stalking me at this same parking lot outside of the library after 5 p.m., flying in circles by helicopter. It's on the record. I will be published. It's already on the record. Jason Fields is going to prison. Okay, this is literally nothing other than a lap around the track for me, because this is already sitting on the record. It's already evidence proven. They're engaging in they're on demon time in front of you while you're looking at what is the totality of evidence, because the entity that's obsessively stalking me can't afford, because they're more obsessed and mentally ill than they are concerned with your knowledge of who they are, and who they are requires them to engage in that which is in service to Satan. But I want to be clear. It is proven based on what science, which is supporting this evidence that's showing you what fills this country and the criminal conduct amongst those that fill this country. And it is surveillance, and it's specifically monitoring. Monitoring is to be understood and defined, and that's what the P.O.C. provides. Monitoring is that which is committed by demons, and monitoring is criminal activity in the United States, where we have a constitution. Monitoring is also inhumane. Monitoring is also embarrassing when the demons don't want to be identified. The Fontana Police Department are gang stalking, just like they are at this same location after 5 and 6 p.m. After 4, 5, and 6 p.m. stalking me by helicopter with the sun in a natural environment, no matter how, it doesn't matter if it's 2021. There's no sun that's going to be over here at 11 and then still present at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and the entity is targeting in conformity to a pattern of conduct, because who else is stalking by helicopter? You already know the Ontario police are, and you also already know that the Los Angeles Police Department are. 68033F4. Fontana police are not different. In fact, the evidence shows that they are very much heavily documented, engaged in what is conduct fitting of enemies of this country, and doing so at a time when they were convinced that they were going to get away with it, because demons like Tracy Banks and Jason Fields and YouTube stealing my intellectual property. And this is why the demons of the city of Fontana had so much confidence, openly terrorizing me by stalking me by helicopters, with the demons that are molesting with impossible light. Just like the demons in the city of Ontario, there's no distinction. Just like the demons in the city of Pomona, there is no distinction. There's no difference. You're dealing with a spirit. It is uniform. The only thing that differs is that the demon has a different name and a different face. Okay? It's the same spirit, which is speaking to the same pattern of conduct, the same criminal activity, the same demon possession. This is monitoring, and it is prosecuted as criminal surveillance. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute, Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2, where John B. Roberts are showing you that they are demon infected, that they're violent sex offenders. They are in the afternoon pacing in the same parking lot as I'm documenting that after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's on the podcast, it's captured in images. And they are engaged in the morning pacing around me under a fake sun that is arriving late to the city of Fontana, and it's arriving over me late to the city of Fontana. And why is that? Because it's not the natural environment. That's not detailed and specific to one person or all of us at the same time, which would require more than one sun. This is a stalker in that environment, 7RQA965. All right? And these are stalkers that center on you and your children's genitalia. And they want to call themselves a fire department. They want to be captured in pictures shaking the hands of children. They monitor children's genitalia. License BYC 3669, Washington, and so does Jason Isaac Fields. He likes to have sex with pedophiles. He likes to enable pedophiles to get away with sex trafficking children. He engaged in sex trafficking me with this entity, which the city of Fontana shares in. This is why they know who I am. This is why they're targeting. They engage in sex trafficking as an entity, I want to be clear, and they are acting in furtherance of murder, keeping me under surveillance inside of the Fontana Lewis Library, keeping me under surveillance in the city of Fontana. And the cities are sharing in that criminal pattern of conduct ceaselessly. As I go from city to city, the entity maintaining that criminal pattern of conduct. 8 RGC 929. This is P.O.C. It's 11:11 a.m. and the fake sun is now arriving over the entrance of the Fontana Lewis Library as I approach that entrance. And so I'll go ahead and capture what is captured at 9:59 a.m., 9:48 a.m. when I'm already here days earlier, and the fake sun's in the same position as though it's like starting over or restarting. These are the intellectually impotent that are proven to be targeting one specific person in a manner that they never thought was going to be cataloged in order to prove their mental illness, their sexual violence, their criminal activity, and also their condition as demons. It is currently, again, 11:11 a.m. I'm going to go ahead and capture that picture right now because I already have video at what is 10:59 a.m. And I am showing you the fake sun that is, again, on the, what would be the side of the entrance. Excuse me, well, I'm outside of the entrance of the Fontana Lewis Library, but it's on the side of the large clock above the Fontana Lewis Library. That's where it is at 9:48 a.m., and that's where it is at 9:59 a.m. And as the hours progress, then you see it when I walk outside of the entrance, then it's on the opposite side of that same clock. But then as I walk away from the entrance back toward the staircase at the entrance of the Fontana Lewis Library where the sidewalk is, the fake sun goes back toward this clock where it is right now, where the demons of John B. Roberts are exposing themselves as a national security threat. These are enemies of the United States. While I'm exposing to you demons that don't want to be exposed, and they don't want to be exposed, but they are inevitably exposed. Well, also, so is their criminal conduct. And you need to understand that they're engaging in un-American conduct. It's not just a crime. It's un-American to engage in surveillance and targeting American citizens while you are also in a position of the government. You're in a position where you want to be maintaining and looked at as somebody that's a hero, somebody that's of a status of nobility, like a fireman or a police department, and they're the exact opposite. Understand that these are demons that never wanted to be exposed, and this is the same with what is local, state, and federal government who are engaging in the identical pattern of conduct. And they're engaging in surveillance on the internet. They're engaging in surveilling you at all places and at all times. That's what monitoring is. The entity is engaged in targeting me because these demons are aware of the fact that I can identify them, and also we're not anticipating the skill set with which I would prove what I know spiritually and intuitively. All right, so this is relevant to what is a threat that I do pose personally, and this is also relevant to proving that they're demons. This is why they were targeting in the first place, because the question should be, well, why were they targeting you? That's why. Because they know who I am, because of what I'm doing now. That's why. And the entity that's engaging in what is this pattern of conduct is to its own demise, proving the reality of what they are, demons, and the reality of the criminal conduct, monitoring, criminal surveillance, Title 18 federal stalking. They are to their own demise engaging in that. And this is the prosecution of venues like the Fontana Lewis Library who committed kidnapping while they were monitoring my vagina in the bathroom. And you engage in sexual violence and then have the audacity to commit what is harassment because you want to be a sex offender. That's the same issue with Sean Thrasher and the demons that derive pleasure from harassing with terrorists like the Ontario Police Department, and so are the people of the state. These are domestic terrorists, and this is terrorism in the United States that wanted to go unspoken, that wanted to maintain a level of secrecy and refer to itself as some sort of shadow government, some sort of elite. There's nothing elite about demons that are monitoring my vagina. There's nothing elite about that. They're nothing other than common sex offenders, criminals. That's it. But for their engaged in criminal conduct, they would be living outside on the street, filthy dirty, and they would not be able to conduct themselves and maintain themselves and their dignity in the way that I do while I'm prosecuting them, based on an economic situation that this government is responsible for, that Jason Fields and Tracy Banks are responsible for, that the state of California, the U.S. government is responsible for, and they're going to compensate me and some, and they're also going to prison. Those that are engaged in kidnapping, putting any hands on me, defaming my character, stealing my property, resulting in what is 7+ years of homelessness and dispossession of that which was belonging to me in the first place. It is not only happening in Fontana and in Ontario and in San Bernardino County. The entity that wants to cover up the fake sun while I go to Pomona, California, guess what? It's already on the record. And second of all, the specific environment dictates that it is not merely a crime committed by that local community. It is statewide because of the nature of the environment. What's going on in Florida if it's only happening in Ontario? These are the demons that, again, they did not think too clearly, and that's because they don't even understand the way in which they're being prosecuted. And that's Providence, because you're going to federal prison for the malice with which you seek to murder an American citizen. And you're not even intelligent enough to understand what would be required to do so, and it's impossible. There's no getting out of the P.O.C. There is no getting out of the P.O.C. The weather in Florida is prosecuting the entire state of California, including these demons at the John B. Roberts Fire Station, San Bernardino County, which you need to know, so the same with CAL FIRE, the same with the Ontario Fire Department. They're domestic terrorists. They're engaged in criminal surveillance. They're targeting American citizens, murdering them, kidnapping them, stealing from them, as I'm showing you one of the motives. But these are demons that are threatened by me, period, based on my identity and my ability and knowing that I would never, ever, ever have dealings with Satan. Not like Jason Isaac Fields, who can be paid. Okay, he can be talked into and coerced. If you put your genitalia on him, he'll compromise and sacrifice his position, engage in corrupt criminal conduct to the demise of an American citizen, where he becomes a terrorist, where he's gang stalking, a domestic terrorist. He's going to federal prison. It is currently 11:16 a.m. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's obsessively monitoring, including in the face of evidence, okay? And that fake sun is moving as I move toward the entrance doors, and they already did this at 9:59 in the morning. That's the prosecution of the of Paul Leon, Mike LORENZ, Michael GERKEN, Alan D. WAPNER, Kurt Hagman, Ronald Loveridge, Julia Gu, Jim Bowman, that are engaged in, and the Ontario Executive Board that are engaged in gang stalking in the city of Ontario under a fake sun, where the entity is maintaining that same criminal pattern of conduct under an impossible environment. There's no sun over me while you're stalking in commercial planes and stalking in helicopters and stalking with fire trucks and stalking through the population who are the people of the state, the Nephilim, engaging in criminal surveillance. This is P.O.C. walking in at what is 11:17 a.m.
They are giving out free treats just outside the library entrance, and please feel free to also check out our book sale with the Friends of the Library. They'll be here all day today and tomorrow as well.
11:53 a.m. Those are the demons inside of San Bernardino County Fontana Lewis Library who are under the fake sun, using the business of the library to maintain the elements of monitoring with simultaneity to my logging onto the Wi-Fi and beginning to access the, I open up the Chrome app, and this is when the announcement is made. That's audible noise in what is engineer light. You've seen the impossible light activity just bouncing all around. This is what I mean with regard to the fools that are going to be prosecuted. The impossible light activity coexists with the maintenance of any and all presence and noise pursuant to monitoring on devices, on the internet, and monitoring me. That includes my genitalia in the bathroom, where they're maintaining that same knowledge regarding every little thing I do, including regarding my vagina. Okay, it's 11:54 a.m. That's gang stalking by Fontana Lewis Library on the venue of the internet. That's federal stalking, Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2, P.O.C. This is direct evidence, not circumstantial evidence, in the prosecution of a corrupt government referred to as a public entity, and the prosecution for what is criminal surveillance in the United States. This is referred to as engineer light, and it is appearing on the ceiling, and then you're also looking at what is dynamic engineer light appearing above my head, and the outside of the window. This is the same Fontana Lewis Library. You'll also pay attention to this. This is, again, my head right here. I can move inside, and this is, again, on the wall on the inside of the building. The fake sun's on the outside of the building. The same building that I was at this morning. This is the entity that's engaged in gang stalking. Police who were gang stalking under the fake sun that arrived later than when I came earlier, a few days ago, gang stalking. The fake sun over the Fontana Police Department during the 9 a.m. hour, but when I'm on Route 61, not even in the city of Fontana yet, there is no sun in a natural environment where a demon is driving a police vehicle. That's relevant for federal prison. They're gang stalking on Sierra Avenue in a Fontana Police Department vehicle, and that demon's monitoring my vagina, knows exactly where I am through the supernatural, proven through the supernatural, and is monitoring vicariously with the people of the state, and these are demons. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is the evidence, direct evidence of surveillance on devices on the internet, and the entity is engaged in ongoing terrorism as I'm subject to it. There's no son that's going to be in the city of Ontario, anywhere near the OVITT Family Community Library, outside of the entrance as I walk out at 6 p.m., where they're all monitoring my vagina. I read all those license plates. They're all license plates of sex offenders. Impossible light activity. That impossible is synonymous with what is indeed demonic, and it becomes legally relevant because the government is practicing the demonic in order to sacrifice that is legally referred to as a conspiracy to commit murder. And this is San Bernardino County engaging in that. This is P.O.C. All right? This is the entity that's conspiring murder when they're stalking with light, stalking as a population, and this is exactly what they're doing at nightfall. This is federal stalking under Title 18. You're going to prosecute for this. P.O.C. License 7CVM594. And this is documentation of the entity stalking me from 537 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California to Pomona at the Pomona Regional Transit Center aboard State Facilitating Venue Omnitrans as well on the roads and the highways to State Facilitating Venue San Bernardino County's Fontana Lewis Library back to what is the city of Ontario in Ontario, California. This is documentation as I have maintained my own body of evidence capturing the maintenance of the crime scene, proving that a population of mentally ill, demons at that, are engaged in criminal surveillance together, and it is a government system. And this is the documentation of those third-party and state actors, okay? So again, license plate 7CVM594. License 8RLU416. 9HGK972. Seven 466-933. The entity flying over the top of my head at 8:37 p.m. You saw the exact same thing at in the city of Pomona on 2nd Street, where I am standing facing the fake sun in the city of Pomona. That's exactly what the entity just committed right now. You can refer to that video documentation that was captured in the city of Pomona this morning. Let's see. The entity is doing so at the Ontario Town Square at 8:38 p.m. License 22777F4. License 9D TJ756. Seven Henry Xavier Henry 779. 8 Edward Kelly Paul 863. 9 Uncle Jerry Zebra 901. 7 Kelly Robert Sam 092. 1719489. That's the city of Ontario, gang stalking at a dumpster truck. 9 Uncle Henry Larry 356. 8 Nancy Uncle Frank 060. 7 Kelly Thomas Jerry 434. Charlie Xavier 61 Xavier 48. That's a paper plate. 8 Mary Apple George 472. 9 Robert Kelly Jerry 265. 38733 Robert 2. 9 Sam Victor Kelly 170. 'That's criminal summoning at 8:40 p.m.
Frank Charlie Yolanda 588. 8 Frank Charlie Yolanda 588 is what I stated. 7 Frank Yolanda Jerry 874. And again, that's 7 Frank Yolanda Jerry 874. This is what you saw the John Roberts San Bernardino County Fire engage in today, because I document the demons of the city of Fontana, the demons of the San Bernardino County Fire, who are gang stalking just like the Ontario Fire Department, and the moment that they drive by me, the sirens stop. Pay attention to that. No more sirens. They're stalking with audible noise. Stalking is based on my location where those sirens sound. Those sirens started right here as well. They didn't start off from a distance. They didn't travel away at a distance. They start right here. And after they pass my person, which is what a demon does, that is stalking in the path with light activity and audible activity. And the shameful truth is that those are demons engaging in criminal activity and doing so under the guise of wanting to be viewed as a hero, a firefighter. That's what the John Roberts demons of San Bernardino County Fire committed while they were engaged in criminal summoning, stalking, and monitoring me in concert with the people of the state, taking the weight off of them while I document their license plates. And it's not taking the weight off of them because I document all of them together. But nonetheless, that's what that's an airport in Orange County. That is a gang stalker as well. They're engaged in state surveillance. But the John Roberts San Bernardino County Fire Department engaged in criminal summoning, which is what the Ontario Fire Department. And I believe I referenced these demons in Ontario while you were witnessing demon possession by a fire department engaged in criminal surveillance, not firefighting. And that's criminal summoning at 8:40 p.m. License 7FYJ 376. Edison, gang stalking, using utility vehicles. Should be engaged in something important having to do with light, okay? Not a fake sun and engineer light, but artificial light, making sure we have electricity and power. These are demons engaging in surveillance. All right, and Edison spends a lot of money on resources to maintain criminal surveillance under the guise of being a utility company and concerned with things that utility and resources and artificial light are concerning. They're engaged in criminal surveillance. That's what these demons driving Edison vehicles are consumed with while they're crossing path into the fake sun at Holt Boulevard and Euclid Avenue in Ontario. And that fake sun, as you saw, followed me to Pomona and back to Fontana, California. Chiefly off of one street, Holt Boulevard. License 18218E3. 7, oh well, this is a license plate Victor Charlie Victor Paul 722. Seven Victor Frank Kelly 384. 9 Bob Yogurt Uncle 695. 9 Nancy Frank Apple 220. 7 Henry Queen Paul 727. 8 Paul Igloo Larry 896. 7 Victor 29948. 9 Thomas Paul Frank 570. 91762 Wendy 3. 8 Paul Zebra Robert 364. 'The city of Pomona. That was the city of Ontario, the city of Pomona. License 6W25445, I believe. On a Frontier. Foothill Transit, a gang stalking corrupt business engaged in surveillance, just like Omnitrans. License 1403580. License 1370398. That's Omnitrans, Route 61, Bus 1327. 9AGD 1Z0 or 9AGD 120. Yeah, 9ADD 120. Again, that's 9 Apple David 120. 7 Larry Victor Bob 807. Excuse me, 7 Larry Victor Bob 817. 7 Frank David Apple 377. 1621226. That's the Gang Stalker Foothill Transit, Route 486. Bus number 3120. License 1403601. Bus Frank 2132. License 1403603. Bus, Frank 2134. Again, that's license 1403603. Bus F2134, I believe. License 1469814. Foothill Transit again, bus 2416. License 1403580, bus F2125. Foothill Transit is gang stalking at the Regional Transit Center, so the Pomona Regional Transit Center, and so this is Foothill Transit, unless I otherwise state Omnitrans. License 1381900. License 1381908, bus F1907. Foothill Transit. License 1602322, bus 2908. License 1652154, bus 3122, Foothill Transit. License 1602322, oh, that's the same one, 322, bus 2908. And I believe I documented this one as well. Let's see. License 1302445, bus 1333, which is Omnitrans. License 1652154, bus 3122. And again, when I'm at the Pomona Regional Transit Center, there's an island, and these are actually, you're looking at the surface at what is a train station, a bus stop, a bus station. And so they are necessarily driving on the road, turning around, driving around in that circle. Like the OVITT Family Community Library, there's a turn circle there. It's not a rectangle, it's round. So they are driving on what is provided there for them to drive on. What you are looking at is the specific environment, and under the fake sun, everything is taken on a very specific and deliberate and malicious context. Those are demons that are pacing, and they're pacing around me. That's why I am documenting, and you are understanding the significance of a fake sun remaining over one person, including like today as I travel from city to city, and from Ontario, Fontana, and Pomona, that's from county to county, San Bernardino County to Los Angeles County, and that fake sun, even while demons are gang stalking, as it's covered up in the same way that they're gang stalking at nightfall, and the same exact engineered environment remains. Where a fake sun remains over one building in Ontario for the duration of the day, in San Bernardino, in Monrovia, in Modesto, in Northern California, you have what is probable cause regarding what is the environment that surrounds. It is the P.O.C. My documentation goes well beyond that. I'm showing the same exact consistent pattern of conduct, and the pattern of conduct is supernatural. Okay? So these are demons that are pacing around me. Foothill Transit is the logo on these demons' vehicles. And they're all pacing around me with flashing lights. Stalking with noise. The sounds of the buses occurring with simultaneity to what I'm doing. Maintaining noise while they're pacing around like sharks. With flashing lights monitoring. Monitoring my device. Monitoring what I'm putting on the internet. Monitoring and doing more of it, more and more buses arriving pursuant to what is trying to obstruct my ability to access internet, to slow down the internet, upload my documentation onto the internet. It's very much psychopathic. It's very much criminal because it's not the natural environment. If it's the natural environment, the Foothill Transit can go about its business. There's no case. There's nothing suspicious. There's nothing to see here, folks. But that's not the case. And I've documented these demons stalking me with light shooting, again, out the side of the buses. They have this uncanny ability to shoot me with light. Those are demons. And Satan is going by the name of Foothill Transit. That's terrorism. It's psychological torture. It's sexual violence while they're monitoring you and your genitalia in private spaces as an entity, and also while they're molesting your person with that which is it's not even naturally happening. It's manifesting so that the demon can touch you and affect you in some way. That's a sex offender and a psychopath. Okay? Just want to make sure you're understanding the significance of every license plate. They don't have any legitimate business at the Pomona Regional Transit Center. I am busting up what is a corrupt system. It's criminal through and through. All right? I want to make sure that that's clear. License plate 1481537. License 4 Victor Charlie Thomas 027. 9 Kelly Erica Nancy 336. 9 Nancy Igloo Wendy 516. 7 David Larry Sam 548. 9 Mary Edward Larry 931. 9 Bob Robert Zebra 609. 6 Robert Wendy Kelly 302. 37780 Uncle 2. Thomas 088 Xavier 0. 9 Uncle 0 Henry 770. 8 Paul Igloo Victor 471. 9 Paul Igloo Victor 440. Yeah, and I think this is associated with the business. That's why they have substantially similar license plates. And that's, I was just going to state that I documented this particular, not this particular demon necessarily, it could be, but this business, this commercial vehicle number 23C5WR, this business, this vehicle, this street, this city, I documented him gang stalking me, or this vehicle, this business gang stalking me before. Every time I come to Pomona, they're maintaining surveillance on this street. Where this is off of Monterey, where the entity is adjacent to the Pomona Transit Center. 5 Edward Wendy David 790. 5 Yogurt Charlie Sam 004. 8 Paul 22596. 9 Thomas Jerry Henry. I can't really see the rest of that. It's private security. The security company is gang stalking. The rest of that license plate is, but I'm going to leave it on the, I'm going to leave it on the drive. It's left on the drive. It's available on the drive because there may be access to technology that I don't have, and the investigating agency can perhaps have access to information that I can't with my Zoom on my little itty bitty camera. All right. License 7 Larry Victor Bob 817. 1163314. 9 Edward Queen Apple 088. 7 Bob Paul Victor 486. 1664721 bus 3127 Foothill Transit. 1421550 bus F2205 Foothill Transit. 9 Edward Queen Apple 088. Yeah, I read that one already. 1403621 bus F2141 Foothill Transit. 1664721 number 3127 Foothill Transit. 166472, yeah, that's the same one, Foothill Transit. 1451577 bus F2212 Foothill Transit. 1481537. 1621226. Bus 3120, Foothill Transit. License 61059, David 2. 8 Xavier Edward Bob 892. 9 Edward Paul Xavier 918. 9 Larry Thomas George 914. 8 Jerry Apple Victor 509. 7 Zebra Sam Victor 257. 9 Edward Queen Apple 083. 6 Yolanda Bob Robert 503. 9 Bob Edward Nancy 769. 8 Jerry Apple Victor 509. Oh, I think I read. Yeah, this is one I didn't read. 9 Bob Edward Nancy 769 I needed to add. I read those. 8 Xavier Thomas Henry 315. 8 Kelly Thomas 365. 9 Robert Apple Jerry 828. 9 Thomas Samuel Frank 781. 8 Kelly Thomas 365. 8 Victor Bob Kelly 872. 9 Robert Apple Jerry 828. I think I might have read that already. 9 Larry Charlie Larry 337. 4 Larry George Xavier 942. 6 Edward Apple Sam 755. 56767 Zebra 2. 7 Uncle Henry Yolanda 440. 6 Edward Apple Sam 755. 9 Edward Apple Sam 755. 5 Yolanda Victor Nancy 683. 9 Robert Frank Larry 042. 9 Bob Jerry Uncle 702. 8 David George Victor 744. David Frank 83 David. The rest of that paper plate is damaged. That was probably intentional. 9 Frank Xavier Victor 965. 9 Robert Frank Larry 042. Apologies if I'm repeating some of them because I'm just going down the line reading all of them. And I took pictures of everything. 9 Bob Jerry Uncle 702. Sam Bob Victor 8311. That's Texas. 7 Sam Thomas David 511. 8 Mary Kelly Jerry 970. 9 Edward Apple Edward 472. Yeah, I think I read this one. 7 Sam Thomas David 511. A demon associated with the Marines again. 9 Victor Henry Charlie 201. Being a demon, gang stalking, bringing shame to the military branches. That's all it is. It's not an exception. It's not some anomaly. It's a demon. They're engaged in criminal activity, un-American conduct, and it's also that which is reprehensible for someone that is a part of the military, any veterans to engage in. That's what that means when I'm coming across license plate and they're vouching for being a part of the Army or the Navy or the Marines. You're a gang stalking demon. You bring shame on the military like a gang stalking police officer. You bring shame. That's it. It's not an exception. There is no such exception. It doesn't exist. You're being exposed and you had no business being in law enforcement. You had no business being in the military. That's what that means. I just want to make that clear as well. 9 Sam Larry Paul 384. 8 Jerry Kelly Zebra 632. 9 Jerry Paul Xavier 351. 9 Mary Xavier Kelly 940. I think I might have read it, but just in case. 9 Mary Queen Zebra 727. 8 Robert Queen Yolanda 121. 8 Victor Larry Yolanda 418. 8 Frank Uncle Jerry 573. 'Yeah, this one was at the train track. 7 Bob Paul Victor 486. 8 Yolanda Queen Edward 488. 9 Nancy Robert Uncle 765. 9 Bob Thomas Jerry 790. 9 Thomas Larry Kelly 256. 7 Zebra David George 902. 9 Paul Uncle Yolanda 642. 9 Paul Uncle Yolanda 642. 8, excuse me, that's Bob 3196 Apple 4, I believe. I'll get that in a sec. All right, as per usual, with prosecution of any criminal conspiracy, the totality of that entity is criminally responsible for all of its criminal conduct. So the entity is engaging in what is terrorism, city to city. And so the terrorism that the city of Ontario is engaging in is only doing, they're only doing what the every other city is engaging in as an entity together. And that's why you are understanding the criminal pattern of conduct when the city of Fontana in the same specific environment is stalking in the same way that the city of Ontario is literally being prosecuted. And I don't have to go to somewhere else. The Ontario Police Department have convicted themselves for me by stalking, okay? Stalking so heavily and showing that they don't even, the city of Ontario does not need a bunch of demons and sex offenders trying to act like they're a police department when it is clear to everyone that they are obsessed with me. And so since you're not even concerned with trying to act like a police department, it's a waste to pay for those uniforms, those badges, all those resources. It's not even police training. I have documented the ways in which the Ontario Police is a waste of resources, and they are going to be disbanded. And they do bring shame to what is referred to as law enforcement. It's not law enforcement, okay? But the entity is acting as one. That includes the city of Pomona. That includes the city of Fontana. It's a superficial distinction going from city to city. It's one entity. That's why they're engaging in the same pattern of conduct. And they share in sexual violence, and they share in engaging in committing sexual violence and sexual acts against a target individual when they're hostile for being documented. That's obstruction of justice. That's what the sex offenders are doing now, including by helicopter. This is the entity that's being disbanded. So the entity that's engaged in kidnapping on July 4th, the kidnapping attempt on July 5th, what is the kidnapping on May 29th, the kidnapping on September 28th, the attempted kidnapping on July 15th, they're all going to federal prison, all right? They're stalking, and they're stalking as a corrupt agency, and the entity's engaged in that which it doesn't know what else to do, and because they don't know what else to do, like stop targeting, that's why they're going to prison, that's why they're being disbanded, and so is Jason Isaac Fields, okay? License 9PUY 642. 8XDC 570. And this is the criminal system and terrorism that the city of Pomona shares in. And this is exactly what they were doing, flying over my head by planes, terrorizing me on 2nd Street in the city of Pomona. And the state of California is being prosecuted as a population full of demons, sharing in terrorism, and doing so as an entity. And I've documented the city of Pomona stalking me by planes under a fake sun, stalking me by helicopters, with a fake moon over me, with engineer light, and doing so while I am capturing the same exact specific environment, the pattern of conduct. So the entity engaged in more of the same today, and the entity is interested in targeting me while its co-defendants, the city of Pomona and the city of Fontana, are being documented. They are one entity acting together, targeting on behalf of each other, while I document the pedophiles in the city of Fontana, the pedophiles in Ontario engage in sexual violence, while I document the gang stalking mayor in Fontana, the demons in the city of Pomona are targeting in the same manner. This is an entity, it's one entity acting together. Understand that. That's why they're interested in targeting me when I'm documenting somebody in another city. Why are you interested in that? Because it's the same demonic spirit. It's Satan. They're demons. And they're targeting together. And terrorism by helicopter, while I'm documenting you in Pomona, you're being prosecuted for a statewide pattern of conduct. I just want to make sure that this is clear. You're going down as domestic terrorists. This is why nobody should be engaged in criminal conduct with the Ontario Police Department. It's not a police department. They are imbeciles. And they are going to be made an example of nationally. Just want to be clear. But this is what the city of Pomona is engaged in. And the city of Pomona is threatening my life and safety while the entity is stalking me and molesting me, engaging in sexual violence and terrorism by helicopter, which is all a bunch of demons have at their disposal. They typically engage in threatening somebody with stalking them by helicopter, and that's supposed to shut me up. No, that's going to result in your being put in prison and being disbanded. The Ontario police literally is no more. They're running on fumes. They're running on fumes. The entity is engaging in conduct on behalf of an entire state of California. They're sharing in criminal conduct together. It's basically like, bro, don't go in there guns blazing because I don't want to go down for any more crimes. And that's what they're doing. You're going down together in the same way that you targeted me, together in the same way that federal law will surround and target terrorists that target American citizens, isolate them together. Is that clear? Okay, I just want to make sure that that's clear. License. So you're listening to terrorism. It's 9:28 p.m. The entity did the exact same thing last night while I was in the midst of documentation, okay? Doing so as an entity. And while I'm in the city of Fontana and the fake sun is over me at the Fontana Lewis Library, you are mindful of the demons calling themselves an Ontario Airport Board. No, those are terrorists who have committed a series of kidnappings with those imbeciles still stalking in helicopter, going to put Ronald Leverage in a cage. Okay, he's a little too old for that, but guess what? The law doesn't care about his age. He's going to be stumbling into a federal cell. I just want to be clear. This is how your criminal conduct is putting each other away, like any other criminal conspiracy. All right, the entity is engaging in what is gang stalking. License 7 Robert Yolanda Larry 805. 7 Paul George Sam. 7 Paul George 5192. Or that could be a S. Let me see. Seven Paul George Sam 192. 9 Robert Wendy Zebra 374. 9 Charlie Thomas Henry 762. And also, this needs to be noted. This is the ongoing objective, the ongoing purpose, and the malice of a government that will go to any length to conceal its criminal conduct, meaning you cannot believe a word that comes out of the mouth of the state. Anybody representing the state, anybody affiliated, associated with what the state has committed, they have shown that they cannot be trusted with nothing that comes out of their mouths. That's what they've proven to you. Everybody gets their day in court in the United States. Okay? Even those that don't deserve it, that belong to be put under facilities in the ground, under prisons, they even deserve, under the Constitution, their day in court. But everybody knows that the government, the demons that make up this government, they're liars, and no one is going to believe a word that they say. They've already proven themselves before. They will be stepping foot in court. They will. And it's already known what you are and what you've been doing and what you thought you were going to get away with and ways in which you sought to do that. It's already known. All right, license 9 Bob Edward Nancy 621. 7 Thomas Uncle Nancy 041. Yeah, that is 7 Paul George Sam 192. David Frank 57 Frank 47. That's a paper plate. 7 Kelly Yolanda Xavier 969. 9 Henry Wendy Nancy 268. 9 Jerry Uncle Victor 573. 9 Uncle Mary Mary 581. 6 Sam Queen Kelly 912. 6 Xavier Robert Xavier 108. 9 Uncle Yolanda Charlie 319. 9 Thomas Yolanda David 190. And, Mary Sam Robert Kelly Mary. So Ms. RKM, I guess. Mary Sam Robert Kelly Mary. Eight Thomas Larry Mary 135. 9 Paul Victor Bob 269. Apple Larry Edward Xavier Xavier 0 Samuel. Charlie Wendy Victor 1576. That's Arizona. 7 Mary Apple Kelly 032. 8 Henry Igloo Yolanda 098. 9:33 p.m. Stalking by helicopter. That's Mike Lorenz. 9 George Uncle George 152. 8 Edward Frank David 300. 6 Xavier Victor Larry 437. And the Ontario Police are engaged in stalking, harassment, and terrorism, a public nuisance also, while they are engaged in following me around using a helicopter in the city of Ontario, as my documentation shows. And they're flying over me, just like the city of Pomona is engaging in today, stalking, and that is shown through to be specifically targeting me, not coincidentally flying over the top of my head, in the city of Pomona on 2nd Street, in the city of Ontario at the Ontario Town Square, at 537 North Euclid Avenue in Ontario, where the entity is maintaining an engineered environment. That's not a coincidence. And they do so while they listen to me document, they listen to the legal analysis, they listen to what's going to happen in court, and they commence to engaging in it over and over again. Be aware of that. Pay attention to that as well. And this is every license plate that I'm documenting is sharing in sexual violence, psychological torture. They're sharing in domestic terrorism. They're sharing in what is harassment committed as an entity. They're sharing in stalking, monitoring as demons, which is inhumane means of surveillance. They're all sharing in this together, every license plate. For what the city of Ontario is engaging in, the city of Pomona is sharing in. It's a statewide pattern of conduct. All I did was go to Pomona today. I could pick a street, any street, and the demons are gang stalking. It's a population full of them. It's the entire state of California. And that's not the first time that I documented the city of Pomona, by the way. I already documented the Pomona Police Department. I already documented Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. They're already sitting on the record. The Ontario Police Department is being disbanded for what the demons in Bakersfield committed, because there's no natural environment that's going to provide Mike Lorenz any defense, and any of those demons committing kidnapping, they're all going to prison that engaged in kidnapping. Every single last one of them. For what I have, the Bakersfield, Kern County Sheriff's Department engaging in under a whole fake sun in Bakersfield, California. In conformity to a pattern of conduct of targeting from city to city and county to county with the same noted impunity that you are listening to. You listen to ongoing terrorism and documentation, and you're targeting the federal prosecutor themselves, this disdain for federal law as a terrorist in the United States, and you want to be mistaken, confused with law enforcement, you're going to prison. Just be clear on that. You're going to federal prison. License 8 Edward Frank David 300. 6 Xavier Victor Larry 437. 9 Robert Frank Edward 377. 7 Frank David Xavier 614. 8 Uncle 0 Henry 997. 8 Edward David Thomas 502. 87216 David 4. 80842 Wendy 2. 9 Uncle Bob Mary 439. 7 Jerry Tom Victor 033. 8 George Edward Nancy 827. 8 Paul 34732. 9 Uncle Edward Zebra 400. Edward Victor David Apple Nancy Charlie Edward, so EV dance. Edward Victor David Apple Nancy Charlie Edward. 9 Bob Yolanda Larry 983. 9 Apple Uncle 9 Apple Uncle Larry 474. 9 Mary Zebra Edward 9 Mary Zebra Edward 945. 4 Frank Robert Edward 437. 9 Mary Jerry Frank 525. 9 Paul Yolanda Bob 138. 2 Sam Apple Larry. 8 Apple Robert Victor 137. 8 Thomas Igloo George 189. 87988 Sam 3. Again, that's 87988 Sam 3. All right, you have a demon at 9:38 p.m. coming to sit next to me while the Ontario police want to be as close to my vagina as possible. They want to sit next to me, stalk me, while the demons are stalking in a helicopter. Understand that these are demons that are practicing witchcraft. It's failed witchcraft. But it's also relevant to what is gang stalking, the presence in the path while a demon comes close. This is what they're doing when they're stalking by planes, and then the demons are all on the road, pacing all around me. So you have a demon that's sitting at the bus stop where there's no buses coming. You're coming because you want to be next to me, just like they are stalking in bathrooms, going in the male and female restrooms, surrounding my vagina while they are engaged in monitoring my genitalia. This is what is a demon, and I want to be clear, this is the obsession of the Ontario police. Go sit down there next to her, and then we're going to go fly over again. Because when we engage in this ominous stalking, she's going to stop documenting like I have years in. This is the entity. I'm capturing this demon. This is going on the internet. This is the entity engaged in that ongoing terrorism together. This is why they go to federal prison when they engage in criminal summoning together. That's OVITT Family Community Library. They're going to federal prison. All right. License plate. All right. License plates. And remember, when the entities engage in this, it's speaking to the entity that is hostile to being documented. I am indeed identifying terrorists. I am indeed identifying sex offenders. I am indeed identifying stalkers. And I am indeed identifying the Nephilim by name. I'm identifying what are gang stalkers. Hey, you have a problem? Those are demons, cowards, riding by, hitting the bench. Those are passive-aggressive demons while this sex offender sits next to me. That's monitored. Sensational activity. This is, again, I want to be clear, these are indeed the gang stalking demons that are being documented by license plate. And they're hostile to that. Their hostility, however, is relevant to being committed and is relevant to being convicted. Okay? This is the entity, and this is their position toward what is the law. This is their position toward not stalking and conspiring to murder an American citizen who has the ability and audacity to enforce their rights. This is an entity that is hostile to not being a sex offender, a sex trafficker, a pedophile. This is the entity's position toward not being what is somebody that's engaging in kidnapping and wanting to wear a badge, act like you have authority under the law. Those are the demons that are engaged in this criminal conduct, and it's because I'm reading the license plates of those who are indeed demons. They're indeed stalkers. They're indeed psychopaths. They're indeed engaged in criminal conduct, and they're mad because they're being identified, and they know they're being identified. That's an entity, that's a spirit acting through a population and wanting to sit next to me, wanting to listen to me breathe, to be as close to me as possible while you're stalking. That's the entity whose license plate I'm reading. It's an entity of demons. Okay? That's P.O.C. That's what you'll see. This demon looking like Santa Claus. He's stalking in the middle of the night. There's no bus stop here. This is the demons doing so in engineered light. This is an entity that's engaging in the P.O.C. That's a demon that's talking out loud. That's audible activity. That's Satan. That's engaging in what is hostility because he is being identified. And I'm going to continue to document, and I'm putting it on the internet because the demons of the Ontario Police are being disbanded. And it's not a distraction from the demons in the city of Pomona that were gang stalking, and they're putting the demons in Ontario in prison. That's the P.O.C. That's the voice of Satan. That's a demon. It's audible activity. He's got multiple shadows, and he's monitoring with the Ontario Police Department. He's a coward stalking a woman in the middle of the night. Not innocently in engineered light, not innocently present while the entity's stalking by helicopter, and not innocent or coincidentally while I'm reading the license plates of terrorists in Pomona, California. No coward stalking a woman in the middle of the night has anything to say other than making audible noise, sitting up stalking, being a stalker. That's P.O.C. Those are the demons whose license plate I'm reciting. License 9 Larry Robert 870. These are cowards. They engage in bullying other people, and they can't take the heat when they're the ones that have sacrificed themselves. They sacrifice their children. They sacrifice their freedom. They sacrifice their liberty. They sacrifice their reputation. They sacrifice their career. They sacrifice their well-being. And I don't care if you're a bum sleeping behind a dumpster. I'm going to prosecute you. You're going to find yourself in prison. Because you're not exempt from the federal law. I just want to be clear. And I will find out, even if the federal government doesn't want to do their job, I will force it to do its job. If you engage in gang stalking with the police, you're going to prison. Because that's how terrorism in the United States is executed. They're the ones that are engaging what are putting people in jail, and they're supposed to have the authority under the law. No, they don't. They're criminals. They're demons, and they're engaged in targeting American citizens. They're engaged in surveillance. And that's exactly how that system operates. That's why they go to federal prison. That's why that's the penalty. I'm not just closing my eyes and just stating, oh, you're just going to go to prison because I don't like the Ontario Police. No. It's based on the crime. It's based on how the system operates. And disincentivizing terrorism by demons who cannot even spell Constitution. Okay? They can't spell Constitution. They can't afford to keep a roof over their own head, so they're stalking other people to steal from them, and then they're engaging in bullying them, and they're cowards that cannot handle the consequences for their own choices. You're going to sit in federal prison and think about it. Nobody cares, and nobody's going to feel any sorrow for you. These are terrorists. These are horrible, evil people that I'm documenting. That's why they engage in violence as I document them. This is very important part. This is a very important part of the pattern of conduct. You're witnessing. You're going to review the evidence every time I engage in documentation. What do the Nephilim engage in? They engage in the same pattern. And they're obsessed with my vagina. They want to be right next to me, listening to me breathe while I'm documenting them at the same time. They're both obsessed with me, and they're also hostile because I'm calling them out for their criminal conduct, for their sexual violence, for their corruption. And they will not be mistaken for any police department, and there will be no police department in Ontario. Okay? That's P.O.C. Those are the demons that are gang stalking with the common filth on the street. That's common filth driving Ontario Police Department vehicles and flying around stalking somebody, having nothing else to do. And since they don't have anything else to do, that police department is being removed altogether. I just want to be clear, and it's directly relevant to the demons in Pomona, California, gang stalking me today, flying over the top of my head by planes, just like the same terrorism I'm subject to in Ontario every single day. The demons of the Ontario International Airport having a field day gang stalking on Euclid Avenue under the AM fake sun. Don't forget about that. And I gave you screenshots to show you. You see what they're doing at 30 seconds later, 45 seconds later, 60 seconds later, another plane stalking me as I'm walking south down Euclid Avenue. And then as soon as I hop on that bus, all of a sudden that fake sun is moving in the direction west on Holt Boulevard into the city of Pomona. Trying to cover it up doesn't change that. And by the way, I've already been to the Pomona Regional Transit Center. Everybody already knows that the demons in Pomona, the city of Pomona, is gang stalking. Everybody already knows that. You're witnessing mental illness while you're stalking me by helicopter because I'm identifying your co-defendants in Pomona. You're going to federal prison. The demons of the Pomona Police Department gang stalking, the demons of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department gang stalking in Pomona, the demons of the City of Ontario Police Department gang stalking. This is not law enforcement. It's surveillance. And they're also obsessed with me because they're all demons. They're obsessed with the one that knows the true identity of them. They're obsessed with the one whom they cannot psychologically overpower. They can't psychologically bully me. They're obsessed with the one whom they cannot recruit. They can't intimidate. They're obsessed with the one that is not scared of them. But they're also engaged in what is targeting me, and that's why they're going to prison. I'm prosecuting them. P.O.C. All right, it is currently 9:46 p.m. Ontario Police gang stalking. That'll be seen on traffic cameras. They're traveling west while demons are gang stalking, walking behind me on this bench. They're doing so in engineer light. I already showed you the light activity. The demons that are driving on Euclid Avenue, they're doing so with impossible light. I already showed you the light activity. A demon sitting next to me wanting to be as close to me as possible, because that's the sentiments of all of these demons. They want to follow me everywhere. They want to be where I am, including in the bathroom. They want to be there while I take my clothes off. They want to sit there and watch and stare. That's what they're doing in the spirit. They're sitting there watching and staring, obsessing, worshiping. And they're also at the same time hostile because I'm telling you the truth about them. And that's exposing their mental illness. No mentally ill psychopath has any business in law enforcement. And every single last demon associated with the Ontario Police is being promptly removed from their duties. I mean, Mahia gang stalking at the Ontario Police Department, to Cho gang stalking, committing kidnapping in 2019. Every single last one of them are being removed from their duties, because it doesn't include criminal surveillance and incentivizing criminal conduct amongst the demons that are gang stalking me as I'm documenting them on the roads and the highways and everywhere that I'm going. That's criminal conduct that the corrupt law enforcement agencies are responsible for. And since you add to the problem, you will be removed altogether. All right, license plate. This is relevant to the entity that's hostile, because I am indeed reading license plates of demons, of criminals, of sex offenders, of pedophiles, of psychopaths, of stalkers. And stalkers don't like you reading their identity, and I could not care less. You're really going to be upset when you're in front of the world in court. You're really going to be upset and bothered then. That's why you're getting the mental examinations that you need. The entity flying a drone over while this demon walks behind me and while this demon is stalking, sitting next to me at the bus stop. Remember, they're doing so in the engineer light. So this is indeed the pattern of conduct, and this is while I'm documenting the city of Pomona. And the city of Pomona is putting the demons in Ontario in prison, and the demons in the city of Ontario are gang stalking in the same manner that the demons in the city of Pomona are. They are doing so in an environment that is mutually exclusive, and the demons are therefore telling on each other, including while they engage in more criminal conduct in real time, because the demons are bothered while I'm essentially reading their names, telling you their government identity while I read their license plates. And for you, it's confirmation. They are indeed stalking me. They are indeed terrorizing. They are indeed hostile because I'm exposing them. And they are indeed mad because I know it, and I'm also telling you about it. That's relevant to stalking, flying over me by helicopter repeatedly, flying over me with a drone right now at 9:47 p.m., stalking me at a bus stop, hitting the bench. That's sensational activity. It's harassment, and wanting to sit right next to me while you're gang stalking me with that entity. That's the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct. These are the demons that are engaging in that conduct ceaselessly, 24-hour stalking. All right, you're not doing anything under the fake, so you're not doing anything but that in engineer light. Nothing but that. And the demons are seething because I know the truth and I'm telling you it. Okay, it would be one thing if I'm hollering at the top of my lungs, making a scene, and nothing is happening. I'm being stalked, followed around by helicopters every day. They make up lies, which I document, about why they're in my face. They're that obsessed with me, making up excuses to be in my presence. The same demons that are indeed stalking me by helicopter. I'm not making a scene about nothing, and nothing is happening. They literally lied to be in my face because they're both hostile and they're obsessed. That's a demon in engineer light that wants to be close to me. It's not public property. You're not free to engage. It's stalking. The demon was just flying over me by helicopter. It's conspicuous stalking. And you want to be next to me. And to the ordinary target individual, that's a threat. That's psychological torture. I'm going to sit right next to you while we're stalking you by helicopter, while we're molesting you with engineer light. That's ominous, nefarious, threatening, psychologically harmful terrorism tactics. Now, I'm entitled to the same treatment under the law, okay? But just because I'm not scared of these demons and I'm prosecuting them, that doesn't mean that I'm less entitled to justice. But the ordinary target individual is suffering in silence. So they're intimidated by some loudmouth demon that's sitting by them, stalking them, and they're actually hesitant to say something about it while the demons are terrorizing them, harassing them everywhere that they're going, stalking them as a police department. All these facets of the pattern of conduct is what is serving for intimidation and psychological torture. Every single aspect of that pattern of conduct is putting them in prison. You're going to prison. You're going to federal prison. That is intolerable conduct amongst a corrupt police department. You want to be mistaken for a police department? You're terrorists. And you're sex offenders. You use tools of surveillance, drones, to keep my vagina under surveillance. You're pathetic. You are not even a police department. You make up excuses to be in my face. And then you're mad when I embarrass you for your stupidity, for your ignorance. This is what is so absurd, and it's all because I am telling you the truth about these demons that are gang stalking in Pomona, California, and the specific environment speaks for itself. It speaks volumes. I don't have to say a word. There's no natural environment where you're keeping the fake sun over. Nobody forgets what's happening at the Ontario Town Square every single day. I get on the bus and go to the Pomona Regional Transit Center. There is no sun that's going to be over there at all, because these idiots keep a fake sun over the Ontario Town Square, where the idiots are stalking me by plane and helicopter, one after another, 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 after another. And then they move where I move, to the OVITT Family Community Library, where they continue one after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, following me on the same street where that fake sun is then setting, and they're stalking with planes and helicopters, one after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. The city, the macro level analysis, the cities, that is the counties, that is the regions, are prosecuting each other based on the asininity of stalking under a fake sun. None of them are rocket scientists. They're not even smarter than a fifth grader. Because you're hostile, because you're an ignoramus, and you're corrupt, and you're a terrorist, which makes for a horrible combination. Serious consequences for being so dumb and coming for the federal prosecutor. Very serious consequences. And don't get mad at me for that. I didn't tell you to keep my vagina under surveillance. The city of Pomona is engaged in terrorism with the city of Ontario. It is the statewide P.O.C. Equally psychopathic, equally sexually perverted, equally maniacal, equally demon-possessed, equally corrupt. That's why they have planes flying over my head and gang stalking in the same exact specific environment. Covering it up doesn't change anything. And it also, a fake sun covered up with clouds is a fake sun. Let's just be clear on that. Okay? It remains a fake sun. It will never be the natural environment. Oh, well, the sun is, the latitude and longitude and the direction that I'm facing and the time of day, and the fact that it remains at that address, 224 North Euclid Avenue, regardless of the fact that I'm facing east at 224 North Euclid Avenue, then I'm facing west at 224 North Euclid Avenue, amongst a duration of time over 10 hours, it's not going to be over the Pomona Regional Transit Center. And you can get down to the ecological address. You can get down to the direction I'm facing, the time of day, and also what is the duration of time where it is impossible that it's going to be anywhere else. When you're looking at the fake sun at the over the clock on Ontario Town Square, you're not looking at the sun in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is ignorance. Ignorance. And you know what the ignorant are? They're hostile because they're being proven as ignorant, because these are demons with egos telling themselves that they're elite. Well, they're keeping my vagina under surveillance. No, you're not. You're a sex offender. And you're an idiot too. You're dumb. You're very dumb. This is what is so pathetic about them. So you resort to the same documented tactic of stalking in helicopters? Well, the demons in Pasadena are serving each other. Okay, the demons in West Covina, the demons in Costa Mesa, the demons in San Diego, oh, they're serving to prosecute each other as the state that's engaged in criminal surveillance, because they're all under the fake sun, engaged in that same hallmark, stalking me, because that fake sun is over me. It's over my vehicle. It's over my hotel room. It's over my person on the sidewalk. It's over me at that venue, wherever it is that I'm at in those cities. And it's not going to be where the Ontario police are maintaining that they're not insane, that they're not obsessed with my vagina, that they're not stalking me in bathrooms, that they're not obsessing and stalking me because I'm documenting another city sharing the criminal pattern of conduct. They're going to prison and they're being disbanded. That's how the Ontario police are distinct, the only way that they're distinct from everybody else, because they're being disbanded. That department shall be no more. No more. Okay? So let me go ahead and continue, because this is the entity that's upset because they're being documented, and you're going to be documented. You're going to be documented. All right, I might have read 9 George, Uncle George 152. Let me make sure I read that one. 8 Edward Frank David 300. 6 Xavier Victor Larry 437. Yeah, 9 Edward Igloo Wendy 028. And these are the same. This is the same city of Pomona, gang stalking. 9, Robert Frank Edward 377. 7, Frank David Xavier 614. 8, Uncle 0 Henry 997. 8, Edward David Thomas 502. 87216 David 4. 80842 Wendy 2. 9, Uncle Bob Mary 439. 7, Jerry Thomas Victor 033. 8, 8, George Edward Nancy 827. 9, Uncle Edward Zebra 400. Yeah, I read this one. The EV dance. 9, Bob Yolanda Larry 983. Read that one. 9, Apple Uncle Larry 474. 9, Mary Zebra Edward 945. 9, Frank Robert Edward 437. 9, Mary Jerry Frank 525. 9, Paul Yolanda Berry 138. Yeah, 2, Sam Apple Larry. 8, Apple Robert Victor 137. 8, Thomas Igloo George 189. 87988 Sam 3. 631 George Victor. 8, Sam Zebra George 479. 8, George Robert Mary 085. 6, Zebra Paul Nancy 491. 9, Jerry Victor Zebra 649. 6, Charlie Yolanda Jerry 724. 9, Apple Jerry Uncle 360. 9, Edward David Jerry 372. 9, Kelly Xavier David 777. 9, Thomas Paul Samuel 210. 9, Thomas Frank Charlie 657. I believe I read this one. 9, Thomas Paul Sam 210. Yeah, I read that one. 8, Thomas Bob Yolanda 101. And I read that one. 9, Henry Frank Kelly 443. 9, Mary Robert Uncle 063. 8, Paul Kelly Apple 761. 8, Paul Kelly Apple 761. And 8, Robert Apple Victor 481. Let me see. 9, Jerry David Thomas 547. This one would be 9, Frank Mary Bob 263. 9, David Xavier David 104. 8, Frank Uncle Larry 031, I believe. I think that's either an F or an E. 35612 Edward 4. 8, Nancy David Larry 171. 8, Edward George Thomas 641. Edward 04 Jerry 91. That's a paper plate. 8, Edward George Thomas 641. 6, George Mary Uncle 357. 8, Zebra Bob Uncle 989, and I believe that is the city of Pomona. You have accessing the dumpsters, driving a small little golf cart like a utility vehicle, and gang stalking in doing so. This is a government actor. In other words, I believe this is the city of Ontario. I mean, it could be a third party, a business that's using that vehicle, but I'm going to, for purposes for right now, that's identified as likely the city of Pomona. Igloo, Thomas, Zebra, Apple, Robert, Apple, Yolanda. License 8, Zebra, Uncle Charlie, 143. 76848 Frank 3. 7 Mary Apple Kelly 032. I believe I read that one already. All right. 57243 David 2. 9 Nancy Robert 817. 1652225 vehicle 3126 Foothill Transit. 1652056. That's Foothill Transit. License 04987 Larry 1. 8 Sam Mary Nancy 955. Nine Edward David Kelly 615. No, oh yeah, I read that one already. Let's see. Read that one. 7 Apple Kelly Xavier 890. 7 Larry Zebra Kelly 120. Ontario Police gang stalking with employee number 3545 aboard Route 61 headed toward Fontana under the fake sun. Just like they're gang stalking now using their helicopters, they are obsessively stalking me everywhere in the city of Ontario, including when I'm on the bus. Not just when I'm in the bathroom, they're stalking 24 hours a day. These demons are obsessively stalking me. And they're doing so in 2 police vehicles I'm capturing at 9:45 a.m. coming from the city of Pomona on Holt and Vineyard on Route 61 headed eastbound. Vehicle number 1125. License plate 1697842. And the other vehicle is vehicle number 1136. It looks like 1675933. Substantially similar. Those are captured in images. The on the roads and the highways, this is surveillance. All right, and the proof is during the day. 12 hours from now, the fake sun is over me on this street where they're doing the same thing, stalking with light. Stalking by being present, and they're doing so with engineer light. It's not their headlights at nightfall. It's not the street lamps. It's engineer light. And it's not the sun during the day that remains over me, distinct from them. They're not the same status. They don't have the same experience. And it's also not sunlight. Their demons are stalking, and so are the Ontario police, stalking. All right, engaging in federal stalking at that. And you're talking about going to federal prison for not only because you're engaged in criminal conduct, but they're stalking as a corrupt police department, intending to commit murder as an entity, intending to get away with it, intending to control the narrative for it, and engaging in that conduct with the people of the state. All right, they're doing so as an entity. They're engaging in the perpetual sex offense with a population of demons, hundreds of them lining up to sexually violate me as I read license plates, one after another, after another, after another, after another, touching. They're going to be prosecuted as sex offenders that conspire murder. That's why police departments are engaged in criminal surveillance gang stalking. And you're going to prison for that. You're not just going to federal prison for surveillance. You're going to federal prison for conspiracy to murder. I hope you understand that every time you stalking in a helicopter. It's currently 10:06 p.m. By the way, the entity engaging in what is sexual violence, molesting as a population. These are demons that are engaging in a massive sex act, and that perverted sex act is going on their criminal record. They're going down as sex offenders as an entity, and that's going to be defined as a matter of federal law, and it's basically legally analyzing what they're literally doing pursuant to criminal surveillance. And it's a massive sex act while they're all touching you all together, all stalking you all together, all monitoring you all together, and they're just taking turns touching one after another after another. It's akin to being engaged in forcibly engaged in a sex act with all of them that you don't want any part of. And they're following you, stalking you, forcing you to be at the center of it. A lot like when they're sex trafficking you unbeknownst to you. All right, a lot like when they're engaging in what is having sex with children and trafficking children. This is the mindset of a sex offender that's engaging in criminal surveillance, and it includes the Ontario Police Department. License 6 Zebra Nancy Sam 785. 9 David Zebra David 860. 7 Zebra Xavier. I can't really see that one. 7 Zebra Xavier Thomas 016. Substantially similar. I can't really see. It's not that legible. 7 Zebra Xavier Thomas 018. Yeah, 7 Zebra Xavier Thomas 018. I was correct. I have it in another picture. License 73066 Thomas 3. And I just want to be clear, the entity is engaging in the perpetual sex offense, and so is every license plate. So is every city. This is again the unprecedented criminal conduct of a government, and a government is targeting with an entire state, a population of people. Understand that is sexual violence that cannot be quantified. That is terrorism that has never before been contemplated under federal law. Domestic terrorism has never been proven nor understood to be one that is committed as a gang violence, but this is gang violence at a level that has never again been addressed before, identified before, even discussed before. All right, monitoring, which is committed by millions of people together. All right, and it's occurring everywhere, and it's speaking to the condition of those who are in spiritual darkness, and that spiritual darkness is relevant to their mental illness, and literally their mental illness is proven by their criminal conduct. They all share the pattern of conduct. They are all mentally ill. They are all sexually perverted. They are all engaging in what is that same criminal conspiracy pursuant to that pattern of conduct. This is how all of that is proven through the P.O.C. All of that is known by them. All of that is known about them as well. All right, so you're understanding what is malice while an entity is engaged in what is public corruption. At the end of the day, this is a matter of extensive, unprecedented public corruption. All right, license plate 1545862. All right, so this is the entity. All I'm doing is identifying specific actors, as many as I can. But it's far beyond this. The state of California is. And that includes the city of Ontario, the city of Pomona, the city of Fontana, as I documented it today. Obviously, I didn't document all the thousands of people in the city of Fontana, nor does the ordinary target individual. You don't have to do that. The government's criminal pattern of conduct is what is already proven. The people of the state are engaging in that pattern of conduct vicariously. And it is the purpose to make sure that the entity is identified as a sex offender. Every gang stalking household, every gang stalking family, every gang stalking business, okay? Every gang stalking city hall, every gang stalking mayor, every gang stalking restaurant, if you will, which would be a business as well. But every gang stalking neighborhood, they're engaging in this pattern of conduct extensively. And that is speaking to what is statewide. So you're talking about sexual violence committed by the government. The government is a sex offender. The government is the terrorist. Not different from what's going on across the globe. But yet we are hypocrites when our so-called leaders are standing on a stage, and these foreign countries know that the United States are hypocrites. That's why we are disliked internationally, in case you didn't know that. It's not just because they're jealous of us. It's because we are hypocrites, and they know what it is that I'm telling you about. They know that the United States is engaging in terrorism across the globe to other peoples, and also in the United States. They know what this country is engaging in. That's one of the main reasons why we are disliked abroad. Because of the hypocrisy, because of the egregious, monstrous acts that have been committed, inhumane acts against other people in other parts of the world. And then the United States has the audacity to have enough power and influence to put it in a context where they look like the hero, just like the gang stalking fire department. That's the perfect picture of that. They're demons engaging in terrorism and sexual violence, psychological torture, not firefighting. The picture that you see with them putting their hat on the little kid and shaking their hand and smiling at the camera, they're posing for you. They're terrorists, and they are doing so as those that they have a specific disdain for this country. Whether they consciously realize it or not, but you hate this country when you're engaging in targeting its citizens for no legitimate purpose, and then targeting them more when they stand up for their constitutional rights, which is what this country is about. You hate this country. And I want to be clear, many of them consciously hate this country while they claim to be the most patriotic. Gang stalking police departments, Exhibit A. Enemies of the United States. Enemies for everything that this country stands for. And the enemies of the United States calling itself the Ontario Police Department is going to be removed as the threat that it poses to the public, the threat that it poses to a civilian population, to the morale, to what this country is standing for, as the rest of the world is going to look at how the United States is going to handle terrorism amongst its own. Homegrown terrorists. It's no longer a conspiracy. It's no longer just some rumors that are unsubstantiated. No one's proven. Nobody really knows if it's happening. And most of the time, they're just crazy. They're just making it up. There's something wrong with them. No, that's not it. That's not it at all. So I just want to be clear. This is an entity that's engaging in that conduct and is very highly malicious in order to get away with murdering people. These are serial killers calling themselves police departments. These are sex traffickers. They engage in criminal conduct with the people of the state, and then they also call themselves investigating the crime. This is what you're dealing with. That's what you're dealing with. That's what's stalking me by helicopter. That's what's hostile toward me because I'm documenting you stalking me. Understand the sick mind behind that, and that sick mind that engages in the very type of conduct that I'm describing to you. The type of hypothetical that I just described. That type of mind is what's engaged in serial killing. That type of mind is what's engaged in criminal conduct, and then also controlling whether or not the crime is solved or not. All right, what are the optics regarding that offense? They're playing cops and robbers out here, acting like they're investigating something, or they're on a chase, or they're searching for someone while they're engaging in surveillance. That's what's stalking me by helicopter and is angry. They're enemies of this United States. They are enemies of the Constitution. That is not an exaggeration. All I'm doing for you is logically analyzing what they are doing. I'm not doing it. They're doing it. They're doing that. That's the implications of that conduct. It's right in front of your face. There are also legal ramifications for that. There's also legal analysis behind that. Just want to be clear, you both hate this country, but yet you're in law enforcement. That's exactly where they want to be in order to engage in what is the ultimate betrayal of American citizens, gang stalking them through a whole population. This is what Satan, that hates people, using people against people. Okay, this is demon possession. This is the Nephilim that fills the government. Okay, that's P.O.C. Excuse me. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and these are the utmost in cowards. Okay, when I mean pressing the brake, not pressing the brakes, but pressing the gas, scared to death that I'm going to get their license plate. But wanting to touch me, wanting to be next to me, but scared to death that I'm going to document. That duality that's what's nauseating to me, because they're scared to death. They are scared to death to be documented. So they engage in a sex offense on the run, taking off as fast as they can, hoping that I don't see their license plate. Those are the type of cowards that are gang stalking. You're not big and bad. You're not elite or sophisticated. You're not powerful. While you're engaging in bullying somebody, you're not. It's the most pathetic. And not only that, now the so-called bullies, they're all being bullied by one person, and they can't handle it. And I'm bullying based on what is my knowledge of the law, my legal skill set, my know-how. Okay? That's how I'm bullying them. I don't have to put my hands on anybody. I don't have to lie about anything. I don't have to make up information pertaining to anything. That's what the demons do. And I'm also going to corner you with your lies. That is serving to prosecute you. It's all serving my prosecutorial purposes. It's all serving what it is that I'm accomplishing. It's all serving me. Because they are the liars. They are the criminals that I stated that they were at the outset. That's what's stalking me in helicopters. And wasting money on it at that in doing so. The mayor's not ignorant about that. And that's not a mayor. That's a sex offender. Unfit to be in the position that they are sitting, stealing from somebody that would competently and be loyal to what is their duty as an official in the city. Not entertaining this sort of nonsense for 1 minute. They're unfit. They're a part of the same gang-stalking, demon-possessed population. That's why it's happening. This is not happening ignorantly. This level of corruption is not happening ignorantly. At this level. No, not at all. And the entities engaging in what is years of existing of public corruption, and they're violent sex offenders who are cowards, punks. That's why they stalk me with Impossible Light way on the opposite side of the field, because they don't want me to get that license plate. They don't want me to get their image. And I dare you to say something when I document you. That's a coward. Exhibit A. Okay? Somebody whose mother never liked them. Okay? Their mother doesn't like, their mother's a demon, they're a demon, their children are demons if they have any, or their gay lover and their adopted kids, whatever that demon's issues are, they're unliked and they don't like themselves. It's a coward speeding by, doesn't want me to document. That's the truth of it. I'm encountering a bunch of cowards who are also obsessed with my vagina. At that. Make that make sense, but that is literally the case. You're obsessed with my vagina, you're obsessed with my abilities, but you're also scared to death of me, and you're also angry and hostile when I document you, because I'm going to document you. And everything you say will be used against you, because that's the government speaking. And the government has no warrant or probable cause. You are already on the wrong side of the law. I'm going to prosecute you from A to Z. I'm going to prosecute you. I just want to make sure that that's clear. This is absolutely pathetic. This is why it gets no respect from me. That's why. Because they do this to people that don't know their rights. They do this to people that don't know what to do about it. They do this to people that they're sure and they're confident that they can overpower, that they can torment, that they can intimidate, because it makes losers feel like there's somebody. That's pathetic. These are suicidal losers. This is actual suicidal. This is the suicidal people. This is actually people who are suicidal. All right. This is an entity that hates itself. They don't like to see their reflection in the mirror. They don't like themselves. And they're also cowards and they can't stand the heat. But it doesn't mean that it's going to cool down. It's not going to cool down. It's going to get hotter. Just because you can't stand it doesn't mean that it's not going to continue, because it is. And it's not just a prosecution. It's open embarrassment and shame. Both are necessary when you're dealing with Satan. Both are crucial when you are dealing with Satan. Just want to make sure it's not me being mean. I'm not being mean. I'm focused on making sure that the solution is understood for what the problem is that I have clearly exposed. This is how you must deal with it. All right. Omnitrans license 1545862. And that's vehicle 2348, gang stalking in the city of Fontana is where we're at now. The entity is engaged in criminal surveillance, stalking, as I am then walking from the Fontana Metrolink train station, being targeted the entire route on Route 61. The fake sign not over the OVITT Family Community Library, not over the Ontario Town Square, not on Euclid Avenue, where these demons are gang stalking in Ontario, but remaining visible through the windows, which is what I'm documenting when I'm moving, not sitting down on the bench, not sitting down in front of the Ontario Town Square clock. I'm moving on the roads and the highways in a vehicle, turning on different streets. The entirety of that route, street for street and turn for turn, the fake sun is visible through the window of that bus route, where the city of Fontana is gang stalking me. Okay? And while they're doing that, the Ontario police are being disbanded. It is scientific evidence regarding their mental illness, regarding their obsession with me, and it is entirely unheard of and absurd and sick for a police department to be obsessed with an American citizen, but that's exactly what is wrong with the Ontario police. They're obsessed. The entirety of that police department that is demon-possessed is obsessed with me. That's why they are stalking. Okay? License plate. Monitoring my vagina inside of the restroom in Fontana, license OHANP5. So 0 Henry Apple Nancy Apple Paul 5, sex offender. They're all engaging in sexual violence as an entity, but these particular sex offenders were as close to me and my exposed vagina as possible, while they're engaging the sex offense just like these demons are now. The sex offense of molestation with impossible light, while their obsession with me is again at the forefront. Stalking and monitoring and wanting to touch me. While you're stalking, this isn't even traffic. You're focused on me where I'm at. And the impossible light activity is proof of it. And you're spending money by the hour stalking in a helicopter. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, the Ontario Police has been engaged in what is flying in circles repeatedly. This is the fourth time. This is the entity that is stalking with impulsive light activity that's appearing behind me on the wall, where the demon-possessed are stalking by walking behind me. And this is the entity that was gang stalking in the city of Pomona. This is the state of California sharing a pattern of conduct, flying over my head like I captured in the city of Pomona on 2nd Avenue. Gang stalking under a fake sun in Pomona, California, where the entity is keeping the fake sun, where this demon-possessed agency is stalking in a helicopter that while the fake sun is over the top of my head. They're doing so in what is an engineered environment. And this is that engineered environment. Multiple shadows, shadows moving on both sides of my person. This is the engineered environment where they're stalking, and they're monitoring the evidence while I am documenting them as the city of Pomona is engaged in the same exact criminal system. All right, none of that is light that's going to be caused by artificial light. Those are demons. The Ontario police are demons, and so are they. This is the demon-possessed engaging in surveillance, and they do so to the demise of an agency. That's the demons of the Ontario police gang stalking on the roads and the highways. That's federal stalking, and they're going to prison, okay? The entity that committed kidnapping on September 28th, they're going to federal prison. And the demons that engaged in kidnapping, the OVITT Family Community Library, that are engaged in criminal summoning with this agency, they're going to federal prison. That's the significance of my documentation, showing that the agency is targeting every day, every night on a ceaseless basis, and then they engage in criminal summoning like what they did at Starbucks right here at 507 North Euclid Avenue. They're going to federal prison. Ocean, Amelia, Patty, the demon-possessed gang stalkers who then engage in criminal summoning with the gang stalking agency, federal prison all the way around. Federal prison. Federal prison. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that is engaging in the P.O.C. This is the significance of having an upright shadow on the wall and having multiple shadows on the ground. This is an entity that's engaging in surveillance. All right, those are the benches appearing on the wall. That's all engineer light. That's a demon. That's not their headlights. Okay, your headlights aren't causing the multiple shadows. Your headlights aren't causing light to swipe east and west, north and south on the wall. Those are demons, and so are the Ontario police. Those are demons. Those demons are being fired. All right, these demons are costing a lot of money on criminal conduct, criminal surveillance, and it will no longer be even misconstrued as law enforcement. They are being fired, and it includes every kidnapper wearing Ontario Police Department badges. This mental illness is what they're suffering from. Demons stalking with light, demons stalking me everywhere that I'm going as an entire population, which is exactly what the city of Pomona was engaging in today, while the fake sun departed Euclid Avenue. And they were pacing, just like these demons are pacing, stalking me in Pomona, California. This is P.O.C. The gang stalking immigrant population, relevant for deportation in the city of Fontana, relevant for deportation in the city of Ontario, relevant for deportation in the city of Pomona. That is San Bernardino County and Los Angeles County that are engaging in terrorism. And the gang stalking corrupt agencies that are stalking with a whole population, it includes the immigrant population. And that is relevant to every gang stalking business that hires terrorists that are immigrants granted a privilege, which does not include domestic terrorism, targeting, gang stalking. And that is a basis for deportation. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:25 p.m. This is the entity that is very much sore at what it is that's being documented on my device, the podcast that is going on the internet. And this is going toward every kidnapper. They're going to federal prison for what this agency is doing day and night. And then they have the audacity to put their hands on me. Bucket crab crawfish is gang stalking. This is why you're being prosecuted as a corrupt establishments, whether you're open or closed. They're stalking along the property, maintaining light activity, engaging in federal stalking with demons that are flying in circles. This is mental illness. This is mental illness. Stalking with light, mental illness. All right, this is P.O.C. And this is the context because they're doing it in this environment. They're sitting around stalking with light and flying, pacing in circles in an engineered environment. They're monitoring. This is demonic behavior. The demon-possessed are severely mentally ill. They're psychopaths that engage in serial killings while they gang stalk American citizens. And businesses like Bucket Crawfish, Crabfish, are engaged in criminal mind, and I'm going to prosecute the business. I'm going to prosecute while you have demons engaging in surveillance around your property. Be prepared to be prosecuted civilly and criminally. You're going to be prosecuted because and I've also shown the demons that work at the venues are gang stalking as well. While the demons are gang stalking, flying over your business, be prepared to be prosecuted. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently 10:26 p.m. This is documentation of the criminal conduct of the city of Pomona. All right. I documented the city of Pomona already. I've prosecuted the state of California. I went back to Pomona today, showing you that the pattern of conduct is still underway, which you know, these demons who are mentally incompetent, as you see them pacing back and forth, that's the outward demonstration of mentally ill behavior, pacing, doing so while a demon is hostile, and doing so while they are speaking to what is hostile conduct, while they're engaging in ominous stalking, flying in circles over and under. They're going to be disbanded and they're going to federal prison. This is the mental illness that Joseph Valencia, that was so excited to put his hands on me, that psychopath that likes to roughhouse women that he's stalking, he's going to prison and he's mentally ill. He's incompetent, okay? He's also a sex offender monitoring my vagina, and at the same time, he wants to hit on me. All right, well, by hit on me, I mean he wants to hit me and roughhouse me and search my property while he's a demon-possessed stalker, just like that one flying the helicopter. This is P.O.C. It is currently, again, 10:27 p.m. Joseph Valencia, you can reference the documentation on September 28, 2025. He's committing a kidnapping based on the gang stalking by the Ontario Police Department, and he's going to federal prison. So is Vivanco, and so is Durham, that committed kidnapping at the Ontario Town Square. All right, P.O.C. Alrighty, I'm capturing video, as you can hear. The entities stalking by helicopter, which is what they've been doing in relevant position, while the demon-possessed are engaging what is stalking with light, that's mentally ill behavior. And the demon-possessed are engaged in pacing in a helicopter, that's mentally ill behavior. So understand what you're looking at while an entity has a helicopter to do so. Somebody standing in front of your face while the fake sun is over the top of your head, and it stays there until the end of the day. By the way, and somebody is in front of your face walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, not leaving from in front of you, but in front of you going back and forth and back and forth. You would look at that person like, what is wrong with you? Why are you doing, like, what is wrong with you? This is what an entity is doing as demons collectively, because the demon possessed want to try to pose as, try to present as sane. And this is requiring that you don't know about the engineer light, you don't know about the fake sun, and you're also not paying attention to an entity that is engaging in what is passive-aggressive means of targeting you, meaning the police are always around you. It's just that they're not ever talking to you because you're not a criminal, but they're stalking you. Okay, and the proof that they're stalking you is the fake sun that remains over you while they're present all around you all the time. And it is also underway when you are being followed and stalked by the people of the state who don't wear police uniforms, who don't fly helicopters, who don't wear uniforms and badges identifying themselves as law enforcement, but they are also always around you while that fake sun remains over you, and they're engaging in the same behavioral pattern, this psychopathic pacing in front of you, back and forth, where you would obviously stop somebody like, what is wrong with you? If you weren't creeped out altogether and you just slowly backed away and stayed away from that person. This is what the demon is doing in helicopter, and this is what I've documented. This is a pattern of conduct, I want to be clear, that the demon possessed have exhibited amongst various police departments. It's very maniacal conduct. It's very disturbing behavior. It's the outward demonstration of mental illness. Demons that are stalking American citizens in helicopters are going to be committed. They're going to prison, and they're going to be committed. The demons that exhibit mental illness while they're being documented, like you want to be documented stalking with impossible light, you're going to be, it's relevant to your mental examinations. You're openly engaging in what is very demented behavior, meaning what is wrong with you? Stalking with light, like, first of all, how do you do that? And it's not going to work to sit there and play stupid. In fact, that's going to be used to diagnose you as well. As you try to play stupid, like you don't know what happened, and we're just going to run the tape. That's what's going to happen, Satan. We're just going to be running the tape, and you're going to be committed, or you're going to be examined, diagnosed based on your mental illness, based on what you are doing, and you can play as stupid as you want, but you're the one that's going to be committed. License 9SW050, I can't really see that one. But the entities engaged in this conduct, and the only thing that the demon-possessed do is they just play stupid, like it's not happening. And they don't know what you're talking about. That's why you document Satan, because Satan is a liar. That's a spirit. That's a spirit that is creating what is a mentally ill person. All right? And that is also what is causing the demonic pacing. And I documented that pattern amongst multiple agencies while the fake sun is over the top of my head and LAPD is flying in circles for, a prolonged trip for 47 minutes. In at Alvarado Gardens, April 15, 2024. 47 minutes flying in circles. That's mental illness. Okay? These are demons that are obsessed with me, and they go psychotic when they are stalking. They also tend to go psychotic as I document them, as I call out their demonic behaviors. And the demon possessed that pride themselves on being able to work in the shadows and nobody. No, I see you very clearly, and I'm calling out what you're doing, and I'm also legally analyzing it to prosecute you. And the demons go psychotic, and they engage in this pacing conduct. In fact, they engage in more and more pacing, which is relevant to analyzing a threat. The more psychopathic you get, the more threatening you become. And you have a whole bunch of demons that are stalking me together, engaging in what is psychopathic conduct, escalating in aggression. I'm going to prosecute you. I just hope you know that. Your mental illness is literally going to be used against you as well. But nonetheless, this is the entity that's engaged in that. That's what you're listening to. And I've documented that. There's a whole playlist. So you can look at the entity exhibiting severe mental illness. It's on the YouTube channel. Mental illness exhibited as the entity is engaging in what is domestic terrorism and psychological torture, specifically stalking me by helicopters, engaging in this highly documented pattern of stalking in circles, flying in circles. That's pacing. That's psychopathic, anxious, pacing conduct by a stalker. A stalker who is demon-possessed. A stalker who is also very much hostile. The demon that's flying the helicopter, they're very, very hostile. They're very angry. They're rageful right now. They're seething. They begin pacing. Okay, this is mentally ill behavior, and it's going to be used to diagnose them. I'm going to use it while you're stalking me. I'm going to use it, and you're going to be committed. The entities engaged in this conduct as a documented pattern of conduct in the same way that stalking with impossible light is going to be used to have you committed regarding your obvious mental illness, apart from stalking in the first place. Stalking under a fake sun. Understand how your mental illness is going to be at the forefront of your prosecution. Stalking under the fake sun is you can play as stupid as you want. It's not going to help you in that hearing. In fact, the malice of your conduct, all of that, while you're at the same time feigning ignorance. You can, I'm not feigning, and I lead Bible study. I don't even know what a demon is. You could say what you have a constitutional right. You get your day in court. You're going to be diagnosed. You're going to be mentally examined, and you're also going to be prosecuted for criminal monitoring, which is psychopathic and criminal conduct. Psychopathic. Absolutely demented, designed to psychologically torture another person. And because of that, that is relevant to having you diagnosed. That's relevant to having you committed. That's how this is going to end up. And there is a body of evidence that's supporting it. So I don't bluff at all. I don't have to bluff. That's what demons do. I don't have to make up anything. I have a body of evidence proving mental illness on the part of the entity that's stalking me. I have a body of evidence proving what is corruption by the entity that is stalking and thought that they were slick enough to do it and nobody was going to know, and that you were all going to look at me like I'm crazy, even though you're looking at the evidence. You're looking at it yourself, and they really thought that no, it's not. This is not that, and it's not even close to that. The public entity has been engaging in this surveillance system. This has been underway in the United States for a very long time. I am the only one that has ever spoken on it. I'm the only one that's fully exposing it, and I don't hold anything back. I will not be keeping my mouth shut on any and everything that I know, because it's my job to make sure that you understand. All right, so I just want to make sure that that's clear. The demons that like to engage in stalking, because remember, they have a field day. Oh, they were just having a field day in Starbucks. They have a good old time stalking with light. Just hundreds of people stalking while engineer light is flying across the shape of hooks. Engineer light flying across ceilings, moving all across the sidewalk, the whole freeway, stalking with light. That's going to be used against the people. That's going to be used against a people. Okay, that's going to be used against people that are going to be in court. And that's going to be used with regard to what is a threat to people that are unsuspecting of mental illness. That's a threat to other people. That mental illness is that which is posing a threat to the safety of other American citizens, because these demons that are stalking with light and are engaging in psychopathic pacing, they're engaged in targeting people in order to steal from them, in order to steal their identity, steal their money, property, steal their children, sexually violate them in ways that they are sexually satiated by, in ways in which you're ignorant of. Those are ones that are engaging in what is violence against you that they are gratified by, even sexually turned on by causing harm to other people. This is relevant to that mental illness, psychopaths. That's what's relevant to stalking with light and the ongoing psychopathic pacing. They're pacing on Euclid Avenue. This isn't traffic, this is surveillance. And what's going on when you are driving north and south on Euclid Avenue? You're driving south, and the demons are driving north. That's back and forth and 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 back and forth. These demons are pacing. You're witnessing mental illness. All I'm doing is giving you the context. All I'm doing is letting you know what you're looking at. You're looking right at it. But I'm letting you know, I'm taking the veil off, removing that illusion, and I'm showing you what you're actually looking at. These are mentally ill people, and they've been engaged in targeting people to murder them. And this is why they're mentally sick. They are sick. They have demons on them, having them pacing around me day and night. And they're pacing around me when they have federal charges coming up. Okay, they got demonic spirits coming to attack them. and stalking me and molesting me with a possible light, that's not going to help you in court. That's not going to help you with regard to what you contracted with Satan. That's not going to help you under any circumstances, but they're focused on me. That's because they're mentally ill. And this is why you don't play in demonic spirits. This is why you don't play in spirits. This is why you don't play in witchcraft. This is why you don't do that. This will have you in the middle of the night engaging in what is obvious and plain criminal conduct, like stalking a federal prosecutor that has you doing that literally in thousands of videos. So everybody knows what you're doing and who you're doing it to. And why would you be doing that? Because you're mentally ill. And on top of that, you're going to be pacing back and forth. You're begging to be put in a ward. You're begging to be put in an asylum. You're begging for it. While, by the way, you're engaged in trying to criminally defame me and you can't even spell defamation. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness! This is you know, it's just, it tops the charts with regard to what it is that I have been confronted with. But it is my pleasure to not only prosecute it, to drag it, to embarrass it, to correct it, and also expose it. Okay. All right. It is currently 10:38 p.m. And the entity, as usual, this is what the city of Fontana did. I went to Fontana and I published the evidence on the internet, and then the Fontana police, they have a fit. These are demons, they're psychopaths. They have a fit. They get upset when I publish evidence online, and they've done that so many times. That's exactly what I stated when I was there on, I believe that was October 1st, 2025. Well, we've done this time and time and time again. You've been stalking me by helicopter for years, Fontana PD. Everybody, it's on the record. You can refer to the record, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. But we've done this time and time again. You get mad about what I put on the internet while I'm on the computers inside of Fontana Lewis Library, and then you engage in gang stalking me from the library to the Fontana Metrolink train station, just flying all around, stalking in helicopter, and doing so every time that I come to the city of Fontana, engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct. The same as that. Who told these demons that it's a good idea to target somebody that's here to prosecute you? I don't know who gave them that idea. I don't know what spirit advised them that was wise to do, but it was a trap. They've been set up. They've been set up. And you know what? It's justice. Because how many people have they set up? How many people are 6 feet under based on these demons gang stalking? Do you know how many people are dead while these serial killers have been targeting in the state of California, in the city of Ontario? I'm not the first person that this entity has contracted to kill and gang stalked. I'm the first one that's ever prosecuted them. And clearly they don't know what to do. They don't even know what to do when the witchcraft doesn't work. So you're talking about you're so much of a monkey brain poo that you just do the same thing. You're just gonna do the same thing, and you're gonna do the same thing on video. Really, that's what you're gonna do? Okay, all right. So this is, again, no mystery in federal court. This is an entity that's engaging in what is clear criminal conduct. The prosecution was completed on the internet. Okay, it's already complete. There is no mystery in court, and there is no syllable that any of these demons are going to utter that has any credibility. Nothing. They're going to sit there in silence. They're going to sit there in silence. And the entities engaged in this conduct, and they're doing so with regard to what is absurd heights of actual mental illness. There is propaganda in this country regarding actual mental illness, while they want to falsely depict those who are perfectly sane, gifted even, advanced. And they want to depict them as being mentally ill. And if you don't know any better, then you buy into it and you curse yourself. These are the ones, and I want to be clear, scores by the thousands of them, mentally ill. And you know what the root cause is? It is spiritual, because they're demons. They're not human beings. This is the Nephilim. These are demons. These are spirits, dark spirits that fill these people, and they are begging for my attention. They want attention from me. That's, at the end of the day, that's what it is. And it's pathetic. It's disgusting. They're obsessed with my vagina. They're stalking me obsessively. When a police department is stalking you, that's not a compliment. That's a threat. And it's terrorism. And they're stalking you so heavily that they have to follow you in the bathroom. They can't give you a moment of privacy to relieve yourself without them listening in and being next to you and trying to put cameras and watch you. Like, That's the entity that is demon possessed, that is gang stalking. That's all built into the pattern of conduct. You need to understand that, and it is terrorism. And they are clearly and openly in front of everyone, which was my purpose in the first place. You're not going to target people in secret ever again, and you're certainly not going to target me and it be a secret. Everybody and their mother is going to know what you're doing. Everybody. Everyone's going to know. And that's exactly what I've accomplished. And it's going to get louder. I just want to be clear. More and more people are going to know. It is currently 10:42 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and digress there. I want to make sure I do have a couple more license plates if I have any. But I believe I read. License plate 9 Mary Nancy Mary 161. 9 Yolanda Frank Nancy 131, I believe. 6 Jerry Frank Xavier 955. 9 Edward Bob George 429. 9 Kelly George Paul 364. 9 David Sam Yolanda 178. These are demons monitoring my vagina at the in the bathroom at the Fontana Lewis Library. An egregious sex offense committed by the public, committed by the population, including these sex offenders, including the Ontario Police Department, including these demons that make up the city of Ontario. I want to be clear, you're talking about surveillance. So when I'm in another city, everybody is engaging in surveillance. These demons know where I'm at, what I'm doing. They're all in. First of all, you're dealing with demons. Number one, that's why they know. That's the source of their knowledge. This is the demonic. That's the spiritual realm. But also because of surveillance, literally what's going on my devices. You need to understand that surveillance is underway, and what's going on the internet, on your devices. The entity that's engaged in this surveillance system, they're engaged in heavy duty surveillance. So because I go to Fontana, because I'm on a desktop computer in the Fontana Lewis Library, the demons in Ontario were gang stalking all day long. So it's not like they're not gang stalking when I go to Ontario at all. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, because those of you that don't understand what a criminal conspiracy is, the entities engaged in a sex offense right now while I'm documenting license 8PTW882, that's engaging in that sex offense as one. They're monitoring my vagina. The state of California is keeping my vagina under surveillance. Governor Newsom doesn't have any sort of legitimate interest in my vagina, and I'm sure his wife would state out loud to the public that he doesn't, but he's keeping it under surveillance. And she's not ignorant about it. This is a criminal system underway in California. This is the reality of actually what's happening versus what's presented to you. The illusions that are presented to you. You don't have any interest in it. Why are you even surveilling my genitalia? Why? Aside from your obsession with me. It's also a sexual obsession. While they have partners and spouses and like people that they're supposed, but you're stalking me though. But you're stalking me. And you have a wife at home, but you're stalking me. Oh, you're a racist. You think black people are beneath you, but you're stalking me. Oh, okay. You don't like black folks, but you're stalking me. You're following me around. You're concerned with my vagina. You're following me from place to place, not the other way around. This is the entity that presents the illusion, and I'm showing you what is the reality of what they are and what they're doing. And it's a far contrast. Okay? License 8PTW882 is a sex offender. Monitoring the genitalia, engaging in the perpetual sex offense committed as a public entity. License 5DBZ021. 9 Thomas Charlie Yolanda 110. 9 David Sam Yolanda 178. License 7 Henry Xavier Frank 959. License Kelly Paul 212, that's a handicap. License Edward Frank 70 Larry 62, that's a paper plate. 9 Charlie Larry George 281. 1656560. That's Omnitrans gang stalking, bus number 1286 in Fontana. 9 Paul Tom 9 Paul Tom Jerry 308. 40156 Sam 1. License plate. Tom Robert Apple Frank Igloo Charlie 1. I think it says traffic 1. Thomas Robert Apple Frank Igloo Charlie 1. 9 Thomas Kelly George 614. 6 Thomas Jerry Uncle 661. 9 Jerry Igloo Apple 215. 8 Victor David Victor 143. 6 Edward Henry Uncle 694. 8 Bob Larry Xavier 948. That's a demon monitoring. This is very psychotic. Edward Charlie 21 Jerry 53 paper. Six Xavier David Edward 504. I think that's I would say 8 Larry 81861. 6 Sam Queen Tom 267. 52395 Bob 3. 6 Xavier Uncle David 494. 9 Henry Edward Xavier 491. 5 Yolanda Uncle Wendy 119. 9 Paul Kelly Kelly 723. 9 Frank Xavier Charlie 343. 8 Edward Thomas Mary 878. And you will see the fake sun setting at 6:10 p.m. if you'll recall. And I'm at Sierra Avenue and Orange Way in Fontana, where you'll see this fake sun. I'm at this intersection in the morning when I'm getting off of the bus on October 1st, 2025. Point number 1. Point number 2, I'm at this intersection today as I get off of MetroLink, arriving during the AM hours as well, and it's at the same intersection, creating the illusion that it's gone somewhere. It's just a deeper amber colored orange, lower in elevation, lower than it already is, hovering over the sky space over me at the same intersection. I'm at the same intersection that I was in the morning today, October 4th, and it's still there at 6:10 p.m. That is not outside of the entrance of the OVITT Family Community Library at 215 East C Street in Ontario, California. Okay? Where the entities engaged in and proven to be understanding where stalking an American citizen is shown. Okay? And that specific environment is coexisting with the government that is targeting you. Targeting through, like I've shown you, the police that are lying as to why they're in my presence and what it is that I supposedly committed. Okay? Now, my documentation is proving that they're lying. It's very difficult to prosecute when you don't have facts and evidence to prove it. Okay, but what I am also proving, however, is that I'm representing and advocating on behalf of the ordinary target individual. Just because you talk to a so-called medical professional and you tell them thoughts that you're having in your mind, thoughts that you don't know where they come from, thoughts that you may feel like don't belong to you, but I mean they're in your mind. You are describing things that you're looking at, that you see, that have never been heard of before. A lot of the criminal pattern of conduct that the demons who are psychopaths are committing, having nothing to do and bearing no reflection on me. But the ordinary target individual, however, that doesn't have any evidence of it, may speak of these things. That is not evidence of mental illness. That's what my evidence is also relevant to. And because of the government that's engaging in surveillance and is literally engaging in, as I've also been subject to, literally trying to engineer, you're trying to manufacture alternative facts to create mental illness on paper while you're engaging in surveillance, where you are engaging in that which is not even evidence of mental illness in the first place. because someone is speaking of things that they're experiencing because you're ignorant about it, because you don't understand it, or because they can't prove it or didn't record it on video or something, that does not mean that they're mentally ill. And it is not the practice of medicine to depict people in that manner, let alone take their property, permit someone else to commandeer their property, to exercise control and authority over it, and also to keep them against their will in any facility. That is an unconstitutional basis to do so. It is not the practice of medicine either. The entities engaging in this conduct while they're gang stalking American citizens, these are the demons that are spiritually attacking you, including in your mind. You're not aware that you're spiritually being attacked, but you're being attacked by the very demons that you're then sitting down and talking to about it, so that they're poised to criminally defame you and say, oh, well, you need to be examined. You need to be kept against your will, as a matter of fact. You know what? We're taking your house and your property. You're not fit to control that. We're going to go ahead and take that. That's the government that's engaging in surveillance, by the way. The government that doesn't even have authority under the law because of surveillance existing. They don't even have authority under the law. That's how the Constitution works. The information that you have knowledge of is that which you illegally acquired. So you don't even get to use that evidence. You don't have authority under the law because you're stalking. The entities engaging in this conduct, and where you're engaged in surveillance, this is changing the landscape. Because the government cannot be trusted, having been committing surveillance and then also defaming American citizens who, by the way, I'm showing you are not mentally ill because they don't have the P.O.C. And I'm letting you know what they're experiencing while they're being targeted, spiritually attacked, and it is not their mental illness. The mentally ill are the demons that are doing it. The Nephilim that are here, stalking me in helicopters, by the way, calling themselves an Ontario Police Department and wanting you to think that the other is mentally ill when they are the psychopaths. They are crazy. They are rabbit poo crazy. I'm going to keep it PG. They are out of their minds. They're psychopaths. They are the actual mental illness, and that is not an exaggeration. I am not exaggerating. They are sick. That's actual mental illness. There's propaganda being intentionally put out. Because Satan is running the airwaves, Satan is running social media, Satan has puppets, okay, that think that they're going to be rewarded, and so they're conditioning you, and then you're actually following them and idolizing them and structuring your life around them, which you should not be doing. That's idolatry in the first place. Okay, so I just want to be clear on that. This is changing the landscape because of what the government is doing, and what is also shown to be not the practice of medicine. It is also not the practice of law. That's not the practice of law. And you're engaged in criminal conduct while you would claim to be engaging in what is the practice of medicine, making some diagnosis. You're engaged in targeting at the same time. No, you're not. You're targeting. And it is also ignorant to assert that someone suffers from a condition that is very real to them, regardless of whether or not you have heard of it or whether it is that you have any sort of knowledge about it. They totally disregard the existence of God, which is the existence of the spiritual realm. And that's ignorant to do. That's very ignorant to do. So there's just a whole aspect regarding the lack and absence of wisdom by those that call themselves medical professionals. I do want to state that at the outset. But what I will say is that that is not the practice of medicine. And I've literally been in the presence of ignoramuses that have many acronyms behind their name. And they don't know anything. They're idiots. And they're corrupt. And they call themselves doctors and nurses. They are as bankrupt and unethical and criminal and deceitful as they come. They are disgusting, reprehensible beings who are unfit to be in the medical profession. Gang stalking, child. The Nephilim. The Nephilim. Engaging in this conduct and then going into a hospital and calling themselves a doctor and then calling yourself engaged in what is diagnosing mental illness while you're targeting somebody. It does not get any more disgusting than that. This is advocating on behalf of the ordinary target individual, and you cannot be kept from controlling your own money and property that is targeted by the government, that's engaging in surveillance and fully engaged in what is incapable of manufacturing that information. The government has proven that it cannot be trusted, and because of that, there is a bar, a constitutional bar with regard to protecting. The threat is greater than what is supposedly the benefits of these laws. The threat has now totally outweighed what was supposed to be the purpose of these laws in the first place. And the threat is unconstitutionally, excuse me, the threat is unconstitutionally threatening American citizens, threatening their liberty, threatening their property rights, all right? Threatening their reputation. And the entity is doing that by what? A bunch of gang members? Because they say that you're crazy, and that's literally how that is capable of unfolding. Ask Jason Isaac Fields. And now he's going to federal prison. Because it's not just name calling. You went into a courtroom, and not only that, you went into a courtroom, well, I'm subject to torture and terrorism. But you didn't count on the fact that I was going to prosecute the government. You didn't count on the fact that I was going to document it. That I was going to prove that you're a liar and prove my allegations. And that I'm very competent in doing so. They didn't count on that part. And it's not just for me, it's for other people, because I knew at the outset, this is what they're doing to people that they don't have this skill set. They don't know what's going on. They're overwhelmed. They very likely psychologically break down, which is a very human reaction. Very human, very normal. This is the entity that's engaging in that. This is necessarily changing the law because of what the government is engaging in against people that are defenseless. And guess what? I've already shown you what is your so-called representation. They're engaged in that pattern of conduct as well. They're doing the bare minimum with regard to representing your interests. In fact, actually, they're a part of the same system. And that is not, under any circumstances, lessening the unconstitutional threat to your liberty, your rights, your reputation by claiming that you have legal representation. That does not lessen the threat. It is an unconstitutional threat posed by the government that should not exist whatsoever because the threat is too high. So these laws are not serving any sort of legitimate purpose, and they are outweighing what American citizens have a right to be subject to. The threat that the government is targeting you, that gang members are targeting you and making up information about you, that is outweighing what's supposedly the purpose of laws under like power of attorney or conservatorships, where anyone can state, well, you're not mentally fit to make sure to take care of the fortune that you created. You created that fortune. So you're sane enough to go make that money, but I'm not sane enough to hold on to my money. You have to. That doesn't even make any sense. And a lot of the bases upon which they're establishing so-called mental illness, it's very vague. It's very vague, and I find it to be in and of itself, unsupportive of establishing mental illness. Again, this is based on, a lot of the things that they have to condition you with. You have to accept that being an alcoholic is a disease, meaning you're not responsible for the choices that you make. It's a condition that you're suffering from. This is how you're then able to categorize it as a condition, a mental illness, and therefore they can take your money and property when you qualify accordingly. When actually, alcoholism is an addiction. It is something that it's bondage. It is something that you are definitely something that you would be caused to be addicted to, have a propensity to go toward it. But it is a choice. It doesn't cease to be a choice just because it's addictive. It's still a choice. And that is not something that is a basis to remove what is responsibility as a human being regarding your choices. Okay, this is how you're getting to what is a false sense of logic, and you go down what is one illogical step after another, one illogical step after another, one illogical step after another, until you get to these unfounded conclusions. This is relevant to, again, the corruption of the government and the ways in which they are exercising authority under laws that are tailored to target American citizens. So what the entity did against me, it's not getting away with, but it's for the benefit of other people. Because I'm looking back and I'm aware of how people that don't know their rights, they can't represent themselves, that don't understand the complexity of what the entity is trying to do to you, you don't even understand that you're being targeted. You are actually trusting that this is what they have the right to do to you, and they don't. They don't. You're not even questioning it at the foundation of it, what they're even talking about. You lend it legitimacy at the outset, and it's totally illegitimate from the beginning to the end. And this is while the government is stalking me by helicopter as though you have some position in a courtroom. Are you kidding me? They are mentally ill. My evidence is showing them suffering from mental illness. That has no business assessing anyone's mental health under any circumstances, or having any say-so toward it. And it is serving what is a corrupt system, where the government's engaging in criminal surveillance and illegitimate interests under the Constitution, state and federal. This is speaking what is changing the landscape regarding the laws in this country, where they are also, pursuant to that same system, 8GNB800, a sex offender molesting my entire body with an engineer light in the middle of the night, 11:02 p.m. on behalf of the gang-stalking city of Ontario. That's a demon molesting and monitoring my vagina, obsessed with my vagina, and stalking me in the middle of the night and coming around and driving over here because they want to touch on me. That's a stalker and that's a demon. Just want to be clear. Thousands of people are doing the same thing over and over again. They're all out here driving on the street because they're stalking me. They're not going anywhere. They're pacing. Anyway, the entities engaged in this conduct and under the laws pursuant to what is criminal surveillance, that's changing the landscape. Because the entities engaged in this conduct in the same way that Eric Spencer and Tommy Allen Banks and Tracy Banks and Jason Fields just walk up in a courtroom, control the narrative, control the information pertaining to it, and the entity is in some sort of secretive meeting, which is a criminal act, and then they're calling it a hearing. It's not even a hearing, but it's criminal activity, and they're concerning property that belongs to me. And you just go in there, you just make up information, you're just going to make it up, you just pull it out of the air. That's the entity that's engaged in this criminal conduct. And at the end, I've also been kidnapped, where the entity is, and I am in full control of all of my faculties. In fact, I'm analyzing you. I'm here to investigate you, contrary to what you thought was going on. While you're kidnapping me, I'm prosecuting you. And I'm advocating on behalf of the ordinary targeted individual. I was literally like an undercover agent while the entity is engaged in kidnapping me everywhere. Because I went inside of the facilities, I saw exactly what they're doing. I saw exactly how they operate. I see the foundational issues with regard to what they're doing and how they're able to get away with it, and how it operates and what needs to change. The entities engaged in this, and I want to be clear, I'm sitting up and I'm looking at demons engaged in what is nothing other than harassing you. Essentially, it's referred to as, I don't like speaking in the vernacular like that, gaslighting, because but you would understand, you know what I'm talking about when I use the term gaslighting. They're gaslighting you. In other words, they are inciting, they're aggressive towards you. They're hostile toward, they're disrespectful, all right? They literally engage in what is name calling you things like crazy, name calling. They're trying to escalate a situation. They're trying to create a situation, a confrontation, and then they sit back and take notes and call that diagnosing you. This is what the demons that are gang stalking at these corrupt hospitals, medical facilities, while you are engaging in the practice of medicine and you are engaging simultaneously in psychological torture. Okay, this is what is changing the laws in this country, because the entity it's an unconstitutional level of a threat. Okay, the threat level is far too high, where there is the benefit is outweighed by the threat posed by what is the government that's engaged in criminal surveillance and manufacturing information pursuant to what is not even what I've shown is because the P.O.C. shows that you would be the ordinary target, the unsophisticated target individual would describe things such as strangers are stalking them. You're not a paranoid schizophrenic. And just because it's never been prosecuted before, because it's never been proven, so therefore you have some sort of basis to write them out a prescription for some new meds because they're paranoid based on what you say, because you don't know what you're talking about. That's not the practice of medicine in my view either. It's not. It's not the practice of medicine. And it's also showing how it's not science. It's not precise. It's not a science. It's very subjective. And it's also, with that subjectivity, it lends itself to corruption. Corruption by those who are demons gang stalking in the medical profession, who tend to make up information and write it down, who tend to engage in harassment and terrorism and psychological torture, and then sit back, engage in what is making up information regarding them engaging in what they're not speaking about, how they're calling you names and yelling at you and abusing you, and then engaging in writing out how uncooperative you are, or how argumentative you are, or how hostile you are. I'm just giving you an example, but I have literally witnessed the entity engaging in this outright abuse. They're gang stalking in these facilities, and then you're claiming to be somebody engaged in the practice of medicine. It's just the hypocrisy, the corruption, it's nauseating. And then you're getting to what is the courts, where you're talking about law. You're talking about the application of law to these circumstances and facts. That's not the practice of medicine. You're talking about what is not supporting taking American citizens' property from them, taking their right to do whatever they want with their money. I don't care if you are an alcoholic and you're a millionaire. Honestly, if that's your money and you are wasting your money, that's between you and God. That's your business. It is an illegitimate interest for the government to engage in that. And I want to be clear, it was literally created for this entity of demons who want to steal from you. While they murder you and then they take your money when you're gone. While they kidnap you and then they take your money or your property while you're locked up. Because there's no legitimate interest in the government being concerned about who you're having sex with. Your sex life is relevant to your sanity. So what are these pop stars? Because they're literally selling sex. What is that? Are they all insane? They're not capable of maintaining their money and property that they're making. They're selling sex. Are you associating that with their mental illness? Because that's the standard that they're applying in courtrooms. Okay? And not only are they applying those irrelevant standards, they're doing it when it's not even true. It's not even true. Okay? This is some of the absurdity that the entity has tried. And I'm just, all I'm doing is scrutinizing, and I'm criticizing what is under all circumstances exposing what is unconstitutionally threatening to American citizens, their rights to their property, their right to liberty, their right to maintaining their own, well, you're in this country, so you maintain a right, period, to live and do whatever you want with your money. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And the only reason why you have this is because this is that corrupt system. It's serving that. Because when I'm looking at it, taking a step back from it, that's the only purpose that it serves. That's the only purpose that it serves. Those types of laws, that would be something that should only exist when the targeted individual, and even at that, because if you're talking about somebody that may be coerced in one way or another, that the court may not be aware of, they might be being forced to state that they want so-and-so to take control of their estate. They might be being forced to say that. But outside of those sort of circumstances, outside of someone stating, I trust this person and I want them to take over my estate. You know, I'm going to be dying in 15 or 5 months and I want them to take over now while I'm here and we can work together. I trust them. I love them. I want to leave it to them, etc. Other than that, the entity is doing it by force. The entity is doing it while they are defaming your character. The entity is doing it while you are placed in a position of oppression. You can see what they've done to these celebrities. Okay. And I hate to bring in, but I'm going to bring up Miss Britney Spears. There's nothing wrong with her. I just want to be clear, there's nothing wrong with her. And I'm not some hardcore Britney Spears fan. It's not that. There is nothing wrong with her. And I want to be clear, it happened in California. She doesn't know that she's been targeted. Even her representation are a part of her being targeted. They are taking her, they are milking her of her money. She was targeted by this same system, and she doesn't even know that. But there's nothing wrong with her. She's talented enough. Okay, she's good enough to go make that money. She made that money. I was listening to Britney Spears when I was 17, 16 years old. I don't know who her mom and dad and her sister, I don't know about none of them. She was the one that was making them. She was the one that was making those two. She made all of that money and they stole it from her. She was targeted by her own family, betrayed by her own family and the system. The images that they take of her in the media, and I discussed this before, surveillance is underway. Those are the demons. They know the type of picture to put on the front of that magazine to serve the narrative that they're trying to establish in order to take your money. There's nothing wrong with her. And by the way, when you are being targeted, while they're stating, oh, she's mentally ill, no, actually, you're being stressed out. You're being targeted. You're also being spiritually attacked. And it's something that wears down on a normal person. A normal person. That has very well something to do with why she buzzed her head off. If she even did that, you don't even know the details surrounding what happened with Miss Britney Spears. There's nothing wrong with her, though. I'm going to tell you that. There's nothing wrong with her. She was targeted. They stole her money. They want her to make that money, and they don't want her to keep it. And that's the truth. It's the pattern of conduct. This is what's happening just on an example that you've heard of. Britney Spears was a part of this system, and the laws need to change because what nobody knows, what Britney Spears doesn't know, is that we're all subject to surveillance. And the entity is tailoring these laws while they're engaged in corrupt conduct at the outset. And they are creating a narrative based on how you're captured in images as a celebrity. Okay, picturing you, capturing you in these images, getting you in those circumstances. And that's relevant to what is serving their purposes. And that's just another example regarding the same type of pattern of conduct. But this is relevant to what is being set up to lose what is your liberty right. It doesn't matter what she does to her hair. It doesn't matter what it is. She's the entity doesn't have a legitimate interest in your sex life. doesn't have a legitimate interest in, even if you are wasting your own money, it's your money. It's your money. If a judge is spending his money or her money on prostitutes every weekend, guess what? That's their money. And I bet they don't want that discussed in court. I bet they don't want to talk about that in their hearings, in the middle of the courtroom. But that's their money, though, right? That's between them and God. To be honest with you, I'm not stating that I support that, but I'm stating that it's not a legitimate government interest. It's not. And it has no business or legitimacy in or involvement in what is an actual assessment regarding somebody's ability to handle their own money and property. And who is posing this question in the first place? Somebody that wants your money and property? Somebody that's interested in it? This is what I find it to be with regard to the greater pattern of conduct. I find it to be something that is facilitating this same targeting. The entity that's engaging in targeting people that have money, targeting people that they find to be vulnerable, targeting people that they can bully together through a whole system in order to get what they want from you. Whatever money and property, okay? And it's not limited to people like myself in little old Ontario, California. And I'm not from Ontario. I just documented very heavily in Ontario. But the entities engaged in targeting celebrities, there are politicians, what you were looking at, the news cycles that you were watching, they were being targeted. It just wasn't given to you. You're witnessing the fruits of it. You've been looking at it. You just didn't know what you were looking at. You've been looking at it. You're talking about leaked text messages of political officials. They're engaged in surveillance monitoring on communication devices. It's not leaked. There are people that understand surveillance is underway. Those are targeted attacks. Targeted attacks. It wasn't leaked. Those aren't leaked text messages of political officials that they were exchanging text messages with their lover and with their gay lover and sending pictures of their genitalia. No, somebody told on it. Surveillance is underway, and what goes on our cell phones, it's a matter of what an entity is keeping under surveillance, and it wasn't leaked through some mysterious that's a targeted act. Just so that you know, you've been looking at the evidence of surveillance. It's not some mysterious act. No. It's not because they made. So I mean, it might be because they angered somebody, but this is relevant to surveillance. All of our devices are under surveillance. We're under surveillance on the internet, okay? And I'm showing you gang stalking. These demons are monitoring. When I say that they know that you're moving your big toe inside of your shoe, they know. They're demons. That's the significance of the fake sun, of the engineer light, of the helicopter activity when I start reading a lot of license plates, okay? Of the amplified audible noise that's occurring through walls and through the floor and through the ceiling. They're monitoring, and they're demons that are monitoring. That's an inhumane level of surveillance, okay? Okay, so I just want to... I went into more discussion than I planned to, but it's relevant because what I find about this pattern of conduct, what's so outrageous about, again, being targeted today as I went from Ontario to Pomona to Fontana, back to Ontario, and the entity stalking the entire time. The pattern of conduct is relevant to bigger issues that are affecting American citizens, and it is something that is necessitating the way that the laws are framed these days because of what can no longer be avoided and hidden. All right. The fact of surveillance being underway in the United States. The fact of monitoring. Literally, it's defined for you what monitoring is and who's monitoring. Monitoring is demonic. So the only thing that is monitoring is a demonic spirit. And demonic spirits are invisible. Demonic spirits reside in people. So that's what's monitoring. And the government's engaged in monitoring. The people of the state are engaged in monitoring. And legally, that's the government acting in an unheard of method. But it is, in fact, what it is. And the P.O.C. proves the government is targeting in concert with the population. And so that's why it's been termed, again, the government is acting directly. That's the government. When you're looking at them in the police vehicles, in the as the sheriff's department, as the fire department, that's the government acting in its direct role in the police vehicle, wearing that police uniform. It's also the government when you're looking at them inside of Starbucks. They're doing so vicariously, wearing a barista apron, okay, working at that restaurant, coming in and ordering through the drive-through, coming in and picking up their gangsta. It's the same P.O.C. It's the same pattern of conduct. The government is acting directly, and the government is acting very maliciously in a vicarious manner as well. Ceaselessly, everywhere. It is public corruption. And you'd think that the feds have a P.C. to raid the city hall because they've been engaged in stealing money from the people and then buying themselves a bunch of new Mercedes-Benz and Range Rovers. Oh no, the public corruption is even bigger than that. They're engaged in criminal surveillance, keeping American citizens under surveillance in concert with the people of the state, the civilian population. That type of public corruption the feds have never looked into. And I've also exposed the feds are engaging in that. That might have something to do with it, okay? But what I have done is I've exposed what is the full system and how it operates. And then all you're doing now is you're looking at the P.O.C. that's always underway. So with every circumstance, at every type of venue, at every location, you're just looking at how was the P.O.C. underway here. I mean, that's if you're, you know, that's something that I would do as somebody that's interested in government regimes and exposing corruption and prosecution and legislation. But you're always looking at, because it's underway, so how is it underway here? And I've literally, because I've been subject to it for so long, how it works in the fast food restaurant, how they're gang stalking. Literally, when they're calling out the person to come pick up their order from the menu, they're stalking me with audible noise, and that demon is crossing path at the same time that I make a move and they go to pick up their drink. It seems very seamless, and it seems also very natural. They're just going to pick up their drink, and it's just coincidentally at the same time that I make a move, the same time that I start uploading a document on my phone, the same time that I turn on my Wi-Fi radio. It's coincidentally while the fake sun is sitting over that cafe, and it doesn't go anywhere until I go somewhere, if I go somewhere, because if I don't, that's where that fake sun is going to set. And that's all they're doing the entire time. A bunch of demons, and that's surveillance. It's monitoring by demons. And it's government action. So then you're getting to public corruption. Starbucks wants to present as a private company on private property, and it's nothing like that. Starbucks that is targeting with the government, oh, it might be actually ignorant. So they might actually be ignorant, genuinely ignorant about the legal implications regarding what they're doing, actually thinking that they're a private property, and also thinking that they're above the law and nobody's going to know, and they could just call in the gang stalking police to get rid of the problem. But the entity is actually, you're not on private property where the government's engaging in surveillance. That's not private property by definition. You have a right of privacy. It's violated where the government's engaging in surveillance. Not only is the government engaging in surveillance, you're engaging in surveillance with that government. Literally, you are the hands and feet of that government. The government is engaging in surveillance by you, with you. That's not private property. And none of that is private action or private speech either. None of it. So the entity is engaging in a very malicious system. And it makes me want to spit. It's disgusting. But I'm going to prosecute because that's malice. That's malice. This is the entity that is, again, relying on the fact that, well, it doesn't even matter. This is what their position. It doesn't even matter that I have the whole case. Literally, the prosecution is done. Those are the demons that know they're being disbanded, Ontario Police. It doesn't even matter that I have the prosecution done. They're just relying on the fact that it hasn't hit a court yet, that there hasn't been a conviction yet. And because of that, they're going to go on ahead with this alternative universe where you are engaging in what is private conduct on private property, and you have the right to even protect the gang stalking terrorists, the Ontario Police or whatever police department that are targeting me inside of that establishment. You're targeting me via this establishment, and you're then going to target me and obstruct justice and interfere with the federal case, essentially, by interfering with the right to expose a government that's conspiring your murder, because that's why you're gang stalking. It's not private property. It's not private speech. There is no warrant or probable cause. The government has no shield, no shelter. You're fully exposed, and you're going to try to stop me by claiming it's private property, and it's not even that. Surveillance is antithetical to privacy. Okay, so I can go on and on, clearly. I'm going to stop here. But this is the entity that's engaging in that conduct, and they're doing so pursuant to what is malice, benefiting off of, but it's not even benefiting. They're delusional. So you're just going to keep on gang stalking. You're just going to keep on until the day. So when you go to federal court, and literally an hour before the court hearing, you're stalking me by helicopter, and so an hour later, you're going to walk into that courtroom, and I got fresh documentation this morning. You were stalking me by helicopter this morning, right before you went to court. To put it in those types of terms, this is what they're doing. Until you are convicted, until you're dragged into court, so you're just going to continue on with regard to this delusional alternative universe. That's what the entity is engaging in. But it is, in fact, that's not private property, and none of that is private speech. The government's engaging in surveillance, period, everywhere at all times. And so this is removing. You don't have any protection under the Constitution. When I go to your house, I'm entering and in the presence of the government, and I didn't consent to that. When you move into my apartment, when you're living with me, that's the state in my home, and I didn't welcome you in my home. I didn't give you consent to be in my castle. I didn't consent to that. But that's what's happening when you're under surveillance, when you're being gang stalked. When demons like that are engaging the P.O.C. License 8XXE662 is gang stalking with the coward on a motorcycle. Again, these demons that don't have mommies, that don't like them, they were probably refused the breast. And so they engage in that sort of obnoxious conduct because they lack attention. They lack genuine love. It's really pathetic. And it's nothing to feel sorry for because they're targeting people. Those are cowards. Those are not men. But anyway, the entity is engaging in this P.O.C. and so they're doing so while they're relying on a whole alternative universe. And so I'm here just pointing out, this is the law. This is what the law says. And these are the implications regarding the law and your criminal conduct. It is criminal even though it hasn't been proven to be underway. I'm exposing what is actually happening, and it is equally criminal. Even though it will be the first time that it's ever prosecuted, it is still criminal. That's literally what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Benefiting until the day that you're in court, and then because you're getting convicted. It's happening. They're literally doing that until the day that they face that conviction. And you know what? When you're convicted, this malice, your knowledge, that ongoing continuation, that's going to be relevant to sentencing. That's going to be relevant to the charges. That's going to inform federal legislation. That right there. Those are terrorists. Those are people. That's an entity that is hostile to the Constitution, hostile to actual law and order, hostile to doing things the right way, hostile to the truth, hostile to transparency, hostile to the American way. You're hostile to it. You hate it. You are anti-American. And that's the truth. That's why you're so mad. That's why you're angry. Anyway, it is currently 11:24 p.m. This has been an invigorating conversation, or discussion rather. And again, this is Erica Spencer. I'm sure you know that by now. I do want to speak to, I have now available, it's very important that you have free access to the documentation because this is information for you to gain regarding your own protection, your own information regarding, again, mentally ill people that want to present as normal everyday people and they're not. This is for your own protection. This is for your information. This is for your knowledge. And it's also relevant regarding the coming of Christ Jesus, regarding demons that surround us and the nefarious purposes that they serve, the corruption by our government in the United States and those that are listening outside of the United States, the hypocrisy that's underway in the United States of California. Not everybody is agreeing with that. Most of them do, because I'm showing you how I am the exception amongst millions of people. So the truth is that, you know, I do represent a minority, but it's not because I'm a black woman. I'm actually a majority because I'm with Christ Jesus. But as far as numbers go, which also has nothing to do with being victorious, but I want to be clear, as far as numbers go, most are of this hypocritical stance. They only want to appear as being normal. They don't actually care that they're totally abnormal and absurdly psychopathic. If you would just think that they're sane and think that they're successful and think that they're beautiful when they're hideous, corrupt, wicked, deceitful, dishonest, unethical creatures, they're fine and comfortable with you just thinking that. That's all they're concerned with, the superficiality of the thing. Just the way that it looks, the veneer. Okay? No substance whatsoever. Those are the demon-possessed that are maintaining a whole fake reality. And your knowledge of that is a whole fake sun, while all they're doing 24 hours a day is stalking. They're not concerned with work. They're not concerned with living their life, minding their business, their newborn baby, their new marriage. They're concerned with monitoring. And they're monitoring while they're engaging in everything that's supposed to make them appear as though they're normal human beings. And they're the Nephilim. That's a demon, audible noise, and then a demon, sex offender, molesting. This is the Nephilim, okay? that's speaking to what you need to know and have free access to. And so I have published my podcast. I am the one that creates my content. It is both my intellectual property and it is also evidence to prosecute a government. And so it is a real-time, ongoing, progressive and public investigation of the United States government. And it is exposing the pattern of conduct. That's what the acronym P.O.C. means. And I find it very important that you have free access to this information. While many demons are just watching it for enjoyment, I'm not concerned about that. It is the Lord's will that this get out. And so those that need to hear it, I am convinced that you are going to, whoever you are, you're going to get that message. You're going to get it and you are going to appreciate it for whatever it's worth, whatever the Lord has for you in it. And that's all that I'm concerned about. The free access to it is what is imperative. And so what I found on my website, which I thought that I was, this is what I believe, matter of fact, I'm not even going to say that. But anyway, under the impression that there was free access to my podcast on my website, which is at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com, I am publishing my podcast, and when you can go to the tab under documentation and listen to the P.O.C., that's where I was under the impression that you could click on, whatever link and listen to it. But apparently you have to log into the Creator Spotify account. And if you don't have that, then that could be a barrier. And I understand that. And you shouldn't have to log into anything or pay anything. So I created a website where you can, I created a means whereby you can listen to my podcast for free. Okay, and it is on the website. You can get to it. It is at this is the POC podcast.transistor.fm. And you can get it through my website. It is at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com. Go to the documentation tab and then click on listen to the POC, and it'll take you to the website for my podcast, where you will have access to all of the episodes in their totality, not like on YouTube where the demons are engaging in what is federal stalking after I publish it, then rendering it private so you can't access it. But I already said at the outset that I do not recommend what is relying on YouTube, because the investigation of the entity is published on YouTube, and this is where the entity is focusing, ignorantly, but focusing on the YouTube channel as a means of trying to conceal whatever. And they're not concealing anything. Everything is published on my website. Everything. On YouTube, it's a convenient platform because I'm able to organize it by playlist, by date. You can clearly see that organization. So it's more palatable for people to look at what is actually evidence for a federal prosecution, but I'm making it, putting it in the lamest terms possible for any person to be able to look at what it is that I'm capturing, because you need to understand the pattern of conduct, because the specific environment is posing a threat to you so that you know what's going on around you, what surrounds you. And what is the substance of what's going on around you, because demons don't want you to know that they surround you. Demons don't want you to know that they're monitoring you. Demons do not want you to know that they're engaged in surveilling you. They don't want you to know that. And you can know that. And that's not because you need to be fearful or paranoid. But you need to know, and you can know, and you do know. You have access to it. You certainly won't be able to stand before the Lord and say, Erica Spencer didn't give you the message. I did my job. Okay, the message is free, and it's available for you to access the podcast and the website. All of that documentation, I've gone to the extent to make sure that it is accessible to you. And not only that, it is accessible regarding what is necessarily a public investigation, because when you are prosecuting the government for that which is unheard of criminal conduct, I find it, and that's because I know that I'm right. I'm going to be honest with you. I know that I'm right, and I know that I have the facts to prove everything that I state. So I don't have a problem publicly exposing the ongoing investigation of the government that thought that you're going to get away with criminal conduct because you're corrupt. No, I'll prosecute you. And I'll show everybody while I prosecute you. I'll publish the entire process, because I'm right, because it's the truth. And it's important when you are going against the government and you're making these sort of allegations, you should be able to stand behind what it is that you're stating, because these are high, tall accusations, and I understand that. And they're actually doing it. They're committing it. And that's why it is important. You should be able to prove whatever it is that you're alleging, because otherwise they have a legitimate point to be like, look, they're crazy. Yeah, because if you're stating this stuff and you don't even know what you're talking about, you're just making, if you don't have the evidence, it may be true. Like I said, it's not mental illness because somebody says things that they're experiencing and you don't know anything about it, or you're a malicious demon-possessed psychopath and you do know about it and they don't have evidence, and then you're criminally defaming them. There's that as well. But the entity that's engaging in this conduct, if you are lacking the evidence to prove it, then it's an unfortunate circumstance. But you need evidence to prosecute in the United States. And you thank God for that, because you don't want to be, what is the product of targeting, thrown into a facility when you're innocent. And that's what this system of targeting results in, by the way. But that's not how this system was designed to work. I mean, theoretically. Right? So that's also why it's vital for that the information be publicly available. I'm prosecuting and I'm investigating the government. Guess what? The government is a public entity. They don't have any privacy. And guess what? Since the people of the state are gang stalking with the government, you know what that means? You ain't got no privacy. You didn't know that, did you? You don't have no privacy. And I said it like that on purpose for emphasis. For emphasis. All right, I'm gonna stop. It's getting late. It's 11:33. You don't have any privacy. You're engaging in criminal surveillance. You're violating the privacy of an American citizen, and then you're going to claim, okay, you don't have any privacy. You actually legally don't have any privacy when you're engaging in criminal surveillance with the government. That's the reality. All right, so all I'm doing is I am prosecuting under the laws and the entities in a whole alternate universe accustomed to getting away with corruption, and I am prosecuting based on facts and evidence, and also based on the reality as under the way that the Constitution works, based on the criminal conduct that the government's engaging in. And just because the entity is engaging in what is maintaining an alternate universe because it hasn't been put in a courtroom yet, and I'm going to prosecute for that too. I'm going to prosecute for that. All right, but this is the evidence that the investigation, the documentation, it is necessarily made public and freely accessible, because it is something that when you are making allegations against the United States government, then it is something that you should be able to prove. Okay, and that's with anything. You shouldn't be opening your mouth and saying anything and you don't know what you're talking about. Do everybody a favor and be quiet. Okay? Because if you don't have the evidence to support what it is that you're talking about, then maybe it's not the time for you to be saying anything anyway. You don't need to say everything that you know. Maybe it's not the right time. That doesn't mean that you're not, but you certainly, it's not the time now if you don't have the evidence to prove it. Okay? So all I'm stating is that, and I know that there are people that are in unfair circumstances. Hello, I'm living it. I'm living it. But this is relevant to what is fully capable, what's fully provable, and I've already proven it over. I've proven it dozens of times over. The case is already complete. Okay, the prosecution has been completed on the venue of the internet. All right, and it's also going to occur in a tribunal, a federal tribunal. And so I just want to be clear: my podcast is accessible in its totality on my website, and I have also the platforms that I suggest, that I recommend. Those are the demons that are scared. Those the demons of the Ontario Police they're going to be disbanded. They don't have anything to do, and it's unfortunate. But the entities engaging in the criminal conduct, and I'm publishing it in the public investigation, and on the website you can access my podcast and all of the episodes in totality. And I also include what is those platforms that I recommend that are not engaging in what is interfering with the case. For example, not updating. You don't have full access to the podcast because I update them through the day. I might update like maybe an hour and a half in the morning, and then I've got another 30 minutes, 35, 45 minutes of spoken evidence, spoken documentation, audio documentation that I put on the podcast later in the day, and I update my podcast. And so there are some of them that they don't update that. So you only get the first hour and a half that I added in the morning, and I added a whole other hour, 45 minutes, and you're not getting that part of the documentation. So those are the websites, the platforms that I recommend are also on my my website, the podcast website. Okay, TuneIn, Pandora, Amazon, believe it or not, an excellent platform. They update like almost instantly. Okay, well, and it makes sense too, because when you're engaged in monitoring, you have what is like the best in technology accessible, the platform website the platform, Amazon's podcast website is excellent. And Spotify, also excellent. And some of the other ones include Castbox, Pocket Cast. I'm thinking off the top of my brain, the ones that I have observed that are including the totality of my episodes. So there's a full list because I went through them and I specifically added them, and I also removed the ones. Just because it has my podcast, it doesn't mean that you're getting all of the evidence that I am uploading. And so that's what I'm making sure that you are aware of. And I am specific, what you see on that website is what I specifically recommend. Okay, so I just want you to be clear. I am conscious in every aspect in that way. And if you see it there, it's because I recommend it. With regard to YouTube, YouTube is there because all of the evidence is, well, not all the evidence, because YouTube is a video platform. So the images and screenshots and stuff aren't there, but the video evidence is, and the podcast is. But again, I run into issues on YouTube, YouTube that is engaged in interfering with this ongoing investigation, YouTube that is threatening my life and safety in doing so. So that is relevant to the impending prosecution. However, the ongoing public investigation is being published on the YouTube platform, and I am dealing with what is maintaining as much of the real-time evidence as possible. So I try to stay on top of that. I do stay on top of that, making sure that you have access to it on YouTube, because I think a lot of people rely on YouTube, even though I don't recommend it. But it's one of the biggest platforms, and perhaps that's going to change after I prosecute them. It's currently 11:38 p.m. So I just want to make sure that that's clear again. My podcast is fully available, and it is on my website at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com, where you can listen to the P.O.C. That's the tab under the documentation, and it'll take you to the podcast website. And it is called thisisthepocast.transistor.fm. All of the episodes, all 941 of them, and in their totality, including what are any other platform that you might like to listen to, okay, like, I don't know, TuneIn or something like that, something that Apple Podcast, etc. Those are available, and they do have my podcast on there. So, all right, I am going to digress now. And those are all the license plates that I documented, and that was just a little bit of relevant constitutional discussion regarding the implications of this investigation, regarding the prosecution, regarding the exposure of criminal surveillance. And the entity's been monitoring the entire time. Okay? It is 11:40 p.m. and it is Saturday, October 4th, 2025, and this is